All right, new intro. New Bateman intro today. Imagine. Um, Something about Frank on the Rocks, Discord mod coming in here, just playing Alter Kill. And I'm like, Alter Kill, huh? Let's check them out. Listen to one song, bought the game. Anyway, enjoy. Jesus. Everyone chill, alright? You got too excited. Time for a nice, comforting walk in the forest. How you guys doing this fine evening? By the way, Break on the Rocks secret first time chatters in the chat. Imagine. Train riot, stream soon, question mark? True. Literally true. I believe the message was posted 1 second before I went live. Hey, good work. Thanks for hanging out. Whiskey Lima subscribed to Tier 1, 35 months. Fully committed to AOS after the embarrassing 40k nonsense. Bring on 4th edition. I'm not really like a participant in game wars, you know? Like, this game sucks. That's like my game. I like my game better. Well, maybe it is just that. It's just that I like my game better. I'm not interested in the console wars of tabletop games, really. To be PH. SG Arcade, thanks for the Tier 1 on Twitch. Let's get fucking hyped, boys. We contenting. True, and oh, look at that. There's the little scuff bigs. The scuff bigs for non-subs. Got some Plibbit memes. Only the real ones know about Plibbit. Salty bets from SG Arcade. Well done. Little Matara Khan from My Rob. Bug Mom. Soren thanks to the Tier 1 for 44 months. Good evening to Texas. I don't know that I've seen that. Every month I get welcomed to Texas, which is kind of nice. Someday I'll show up. Hey, well, SSJ24 real, yeah. Absolute cinema. Everyone enjoying the outrage over imaginary vaginas in 40k right now? Not really. I think it's mostly blown over, if I'm gonna be perfectly honest. There are some, like, fantastical crybabies, where the issue really is just women, but I don't think that's the actual issue. I mean, it is for some of the weirdest people. But it's easy to paint them like that when they keep tweeting like that. The other side's super fucked up at times too. Not sure if I like either of it. Luckily I don't have to worry about that in AOS. Mechrat, thanks for the Sorcerer Supreme tier on YouTube. I appreciate it. TY for hopping on over. This isn't a transition, by the way, for any people who may be wondering. I'm not transitioning to YouTube from Twitch. They just changed the thing I have to sign, and so I'm allowed to be on both, and so I'm perfectly happy to be on both. Until they tell me that I can't. Steely, thanks for the 5. Hey, well, memberships on YouTube. Big dude, big. Huge. Landed on some of the people in chat. Hey, please enjoy your gifties. I know on Twitch you subscribe so you don't have to watch ads. Is that true on YouTube? I should look into this so that I can do a sales pitch for my own shit. I actually don't know. Masoran, thanks for becoming a HeyWoah enjoyer on YouTube. Oh wait, man who Merchant Rat, Sorcerer Supreme is like a higher tier. Pardon me, I didn't realize that. Your name's on the guest list. Step right this way. VIP coming through. Get out of the fucking way. Most people you play 40k against are normally chill. Just gotta remember the vocal minority rule when discussing online. Yeah, for both of the extremes, really. Your local scene is just going to be how you paint, no pun intended, the audience for some game. You know, just anecdotally, whatever your local store happens to be, that's, for the most part, going to be how you think of things as. So it's really luck of the draw. You know? Pasta, please. Just like me for real. Oh, the Bateman thing? Yeah. Hey, thanks for being a first-time chatter. TwitchCon 19, San Diego. Was I working for them at that point? I don't think I was. I went 2 of the years, but that was driving truck out. Fucking Chicago to California. That was not an enjoyable ride, especially over the Rocky Mountains. Armadeus goats. Our damn Amadeus went hard on this one. Yeah. Oh, some Giga. A little bit of Giga emotes in chat. You love to see it. I like Giga. I think she's a good talker. You know, some streamers are just talker. They could just talk. They can yap at you. And people are perfectly satisfied with them just yapping at you. And sometimes there's a back and forth, but otherwise it's not like they're playing a game and filling dead air. They're just yapping. I like Giga for that. She does too much GTA roleplay for my personal tastes. I don't like that style of content. But a lot of people do. I think it's really popular. Styles of content that I like, it's kind of like the shortcut to determining whether or not some food is healthy. The shortcut for determining whether or not a food is healthy is if it tastes good, it's probably not healthy for you. And in that respect, if a form of content is popular, I probably don't like it. Like if I see something, I'm like, I hate this style of content. I don't even need to look it up. From me not liking it, I know that it's like 7 gorillion billion viewers, super popular. It's my rule of thumb. As Arcade thinks of the 10 tier 1 subs on Twitch, appreciate it. Huge double grips. Did it land on anybody? I don't think anybody got sniped. Peenwad, maybe. Interesting name. Yo, is that L.I. Joe? No, it's Lil Joe. Alright, you faked me out. That guy's getting married right now anyway. Ahem. Anyway, thanks for the 10 gifts. Huge. Big Oiler. Hey, well, why did you put Elaine in the thumbnail? Dude, that's that wasn't a YouTube comment, but it was a real comment on Twitch when we were talking about that video. I made a Custodes and I put Sigourney Weaver from Alien on it. And somebody's like, is that Lane from Seinfeld? And I'm like, somebody shoot that guy. Somebody ban that guy. Get these kids out of here. This is a 13 plus stream. Anyway, good meme. You like YouTube's UI and it runs better in your browser? Yeah, no big deal. I prefer YouTube because you can scrub back and watch stuff you missed. You can't do that on Twitch. Everything else I think Twitch shits on YouTube for, though, for the most part. From UI to how the chat looks, everything. The ability to raid is way easier and cool. Hey, well, we are old men now, apparently. I mean, the movie came out in 1979, Anno Domini, right? So...
You son of a bitch.
You son of a bitch. Trundergeist. Hey, no sooner had I mentioned the concept of raids than somebody raids me. Trundergeist, thanks for the raiding party of 4. I appreciate it. Big raider. Thanks a lot. What have you come from? What have you people come from? What were you doing? Let me click on your name. Thundergeist. Apparently you're live right now? How's that possible? I'm watching your stream load. I thought you had to raid when you went offline. Anyway, thanks for the raid. I appreciate it. TYVM. I'll wait for your messages in a second. I know that a lot of times when people raid, they're clicking stuff, they're closing everything. They can't watch the stream right away exactly. Astro Arcade thinks of the tier 1 for 3 for free. You got sniped. Food can be healthy, yeah. Giga is one of your favorites when she isn't doing GTA RP. Yeah, same. Big same. Alt4G, first time chatter. Did you see the announcement for the new V Shoujo member? Of course. Of course. Really looking like Mika Meltika, which is what people thought before. Look forward to watching it tomorrow or something. I don't know when it's premiering or whatever, but... Dude, you played L.I. Joe? Cheap as fuck? Oh, damn. He's got this... He has crafted an aura about himself of being such a straight shooter, nice guy. You know, does it not translate to the gameplay exactly? Vengeful Jan, thanks for $10 on YouTube. Appreciate it. Read the rules for command abilities and combat. I haven't yet. This is a React Andy stream. Today's preview on Magic and Prayers is making you take a break from the gameplay of 40k, and you're going to finally kick off your start to AOS. I'm going to like that comment and heart it. I'm not participating in 40k versus AOS console wars over here. I'm just appreciating the $10. Hey, good comment, and thanks a lot. I can't wait to read them during news segment in like an hour, maybe a half an hour, maybe 1 minute. Chill. Thundergeist comes in here with a big. Oh, he's a viewer. Thundergeist is a knower. Can't paint Beast of Chaos anymore, so doing my OBR, I guess. Hey, yeah, they did a. Oh, what's the? Hey, is SG Arcade in here? I need a wrestling reference stat. Is it a Kansas City screw job? Is that the thing? The famous screw job. BOC players got screwed by internal politics. It's a tinfoil hat that I, at this point, basically believe that the specialist studio fought against the mainline studio, and for some reason, you can't sell an army and specialist game plus mainline game, apparently. Or maybe it's just a TOW team or something like that. But I'm sorry that paying customers got shit on for internal politics. It sucks. Anyway, hope your stream went well. Painting OBR. Only got your first game of AOS in person this week. The LGS group has a lot of hype for 4th. Yeah, I share their hype. It's looking good. Just about everything I read is, I'm reading it and I'm like, hey, that's a good change. Some of it is brave changes that I didn't think they would manage to do. Rob Rot, thanks for the tier 1, Rob. Oh, subbed, sniped Tundra Geist. Hey, get a gifter. Get gifted. Got him. Anyway, thanks for the donation. Played your first game of AOS yesterday, lost hard because you failed the first rule of Idnet Deepkin. Don't get charged. It's a common rule for people without a whole bunch of chaff. It's a common rule. Don't worry about it. First game of AOS, you're learning the basics. Wait, how do I roll armor again? How am I applying rend? You know, all this stuff. You'll get used to it. Anyway, I hope you had fun. Your opponent was nice. Montreal Screwjob referenced. Was it? I guess there have probably been more than one famous Screwjobs in wrestling. Why do you have Chie in your outro? She's actually worst girl. Somebody shoot that guy. Orange names in chat. No taste. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Like, you can not like Chie. You can have Chie not be best girl in P4. No judgment whatsoever. But not thinking Yukiko is the worst girl? Like, the obvious worst girl, universally agreed, is right there. And you take the exit to Chie Town. Unbelievable. Anyway, good meme. What would you say is a good army substitute for the sort of gameplay of BOC? I would say that 4th edition is 2 months away. And everything is on the table to be changed. And so if I tell you something, in 2 months, all the rules are changing. The core rules are changing. The way seasons work are changing. Every individual army, all of their war scrolls are getting redone. They're becoming indexed. Geez, who knows? Wait to see the rules, I say. Be a smart shopper. Don't start buying stuff when everything's just about to change. HeyWoah doesn't participate in the game war because he knows who wins. I mean, I like AOS as a game. 40K has a really cool setting. Much better setting. And world building and stuff. Lore's, like, the detail-oriented lore is really cool. The plot and characters, basically even. I don't know. But I'm more interested in the game part and the models. So, for me, it's AOS. As a former Magic player, have you checked out Flesh and Blood? No. I couldn't be less interested in Flesh and Blood. No offense. It's just like, some people love card games, the idea of card games. And so they're ravenously just devouring as many different card games as they can, like it's a buffet. But I ordered the best dish already, and it's Magic, and so I have no need to order lesser ones. I'm not like a card game fan, I'm a Magic fan, if that makes any sense. I don't know if it's people who like board games tend to be like this, or people with a brain like this also tend to be board game fans, but that's the only sort of connection I seem to have made, is everybody who's like that, oh, you played this card game? Well, have you tried these 3 other card games? Oh, you played D&D? Have you tried these 5 other tabletop RPGs no one's heard of? Oh, you like AOS? You should try Kings of War. You should also try TOW. You got to try Bolt Action. You got to try Marvel Snap or whatever. It's the type of person that just likes a mechanical system genre, I guess, and they just try to collect and have played as many as possible. I'm just not like that at all, really. Especially considering how expensive they are. I'm not trying to shop around. Naoto Supremacy, unquestionably. Grave Consequences. Excellent taste, sir. Truly excellent taste. Brutal Burrito, first time chatter. Getting into AOS at the beginning of the year. Picked up some BOC. Onto FEC it is then. Yeah, Brutal Burrito, your name is indicative of what has happened to you. You have fallen into... You're one of the rare few. The very, very recent BOC adopter. It's just bound to happen. Surely there's somebody in the world it happened to for Bone Splitters, right? 12 seconds ago, I bought $17,000 of Bone Splitters, and then today the news article comes up and they're gone in a year. These people fell in, they walked into a minefield. The poor saps. It's not really their fault. It's maybe a human hair's breadth a little bit their fault for Bone Splitters. Because if you did any research, everyone was like, this is not going to be an army anymore. The through line is they've only lost support for the whole game. But BOC was kind of out of left field, and it's a shitty thing to do regardless. So, you decide the Age of Sigmar is the best Warhammer. Sorry, HeyWoah. Hey, don't worry about it. Just enjoy yourself. Bought and painted a whole BOC army in November to December. Yeah, you're just gonna have those people at ground zero. It's a pure numbers game, and it sucks. Especially for such a stupid reason. Sometimes as a business, okay, we're Games Workshop. We sell 25 armies, and nobody likes one of them. And they've never liked one of them, and it's always unpopular, and it's not making any money, and it's just not making any money. And we could decide to invest in it so that maybe it does, but we don't think that's worth it. And the bean counters and eggheads have done the math, and it's like, there's already plenty of orcs. We've determined that we could spend that money elsewhere. And that's sad, but business has got to do that. The BOC thing is different, however. As your arcade, Montreal Screwjob. is a reference to the 1997 Survivor Series, where the champ Bret Hart refused to lay down for Shawn Michaels as Bret was leaving the company. So they got him in a lock, and the ref rang the bell as if he gave up. Okay. I knew he would know the deep lore. SG Arcade. Montreal. I don't know why I thought it was a Tennessee screw job. I guess I just imagined a place. I imagined a place and put it in there. Ahem. Are BOC in a good place for people who choose to stick with third? My experience as a Beast Claw player is that Beast of Chaos could beat me 9 times out of 10. So matchup wise, I think my opinion of BOC is maybe inflated. I don't know what their stats are at right now, but I know they're super good against me. I don't know. There's probably win percent something or others. I know there's a Matt Rose article that maybe we'll talk about today that talks about the meta, so they'll probably do that. And we can see where BOC are at. I wonder if representation will go down or if it'll go up. Maybe it goes up for one last hurrah, you know, a final ride of the BOC. People play them for the next year, get their money's worth out of them, you know. I wonder how it will be handled. Bret was essentially going to lose in his hometown, but managed to convince Vince to have the fight take place at Montreal. Okay. Despite the BOC being from the old world, they really exemplified better than any other faction the horrors lurking in the chaos-touched wilderness at the edges of civilization. Yeah, just not... There's no order to it. There's no control, really. Just the wild beasts of night in the forest. I think that's cool. Our Lord and Savior, Rat Mouse, yeah. I just wanted to charge into impact hits, man. Same. Literally same. Have I missed I feel like I've missed a sub or something. I hope I haven't. Oh, I did. Warbear227 gifted a sub to Fed Glee. Appreciate it. TYVM. Thanks for the sub. I missed it 7 minutes ago for some reason. But we got there. What are your thoughts on Tortured Poets Department? I'd have to Google it. Oh, it's because I'm reading the chat. I'm reading scrolled up. I'm reading old chat, that's why. Yeah, BOC was pretty unique in third. A really interesting off-the-board ambush, null deploy style thing, using abilities off the board as well. I thought it was just really interesting. They gave them really creative rules, I thought. The rules writers. Thanks, you unironically like Naoto the least. You take Batman's advice and don't date within the team. Okay. Well, it is a dating simulator, kinda, so that's weird, but then again, I'm weird, so. The Tortured Poets Department question was Madeline, not me. Am I Googling this? Studio album by Taylor Swift. Oh, that's why I haven't heard of it. It's pop music. Well, let me tell you. The New York Times says that the pop superstar's latest album was preceded by a satellite radio channel, a word game, a return to TikTok, and an actual library. For her fans, more is always welcome. You know, I basically agree with the New York Times on this one. That's what I think of it. I was impressed by all that stuff that I just said. come back to talk about the lore when AOS is 30 years old? I suppose, but you can make a new interesting setting. You can do that. It's not impossible. You know, new things were made that were immediately good. That's not banned. We should make a bot command that just answers the, oh yeah, the conquest, flesh and blood, 1-page rules. Yeah, Jesus. As a streamer, you do have to answer the same questions over and over. I've streamed for like, I don't know, when did I look it up? Like 5,000 hours, 7,000 hours, I don't know. Like, I've streamed for a long time. I'm gonna answer the same question more than once, I just am. Especially if it's a common question. And if it's a common question, it means people want to know the answer. So I'm fine with answering the same thing over and over, but I guess maybe for the viewers, they might tire of it. The type of person that has a mountain of plastic in their closet, acid-based, first of all. That's offensive. Second of all, it's probably very often correct. There was one Bone Splitter player. I mean, there were more than one. It was hard to find them. You saw the writing on the wall for BOC and Bone Splitters? Everyone saw it for Bone Splitters. BOC was a surprise. Because that wasn't a support thing. That wasn't a aren't selling enough thing. That wasn't a not enough people are playing it thing. That was internal politics in GW fighting over the army for which game it would go in. And they had Age of Sigmar releases. They got endless spells, a terrain feature. Those things don't exist in TOW. It's just kind of a waste of money to design them. Didn't squats come back in 40k? In a sense, yeah, Votann. I think Votann are really cool. I haven't looked into them too very much. If I were the type of person to like short races, and I am not, and was forced to make a 40k army, I would consider Votann. I love their lore. I think they look cool mostly. Their technology is kind of cool mostly. I like to be the most high-tech, hugest guns possible. I'm a big gun enjoyer. I don't give a shit about real-world military history, so Imperial Guard and tanks and stuff are kind of, I don't care. Yeah. If I didn't have a rule against playing short races, Votann are kind of cool. Before the Montreal Screwjob, it was referenced to as a Kansas City two-step. Okay. So I was wrong in all possible ways, but I knew there was a Screwjob somewhere. FaZe Rune, thanks for the $5. Finally got over my faction indecision and got Big Daddy Ogre pilled. Just in time for 4th. Thanks, Dad. Hey, I appreciate it. I hope you like it. I hope whatever happens in 4th edition, they're still cool and fun. Not just for your sake, but for mine. It's the only army I play. Let us share in the hopium together, I guess. I currently find them very fun because I like impact hits. Simple as. Also monsters. TPD is mid. TPD, what does that stand for? That was probably pertinent when it was happening. Ramen or udon? Ramen easy. Ramen, Charles Barkley, shut up and jam for the Sega CDs on udon. It's not even close. But great question. You think to be here in 4th Ed for AOS is the best place to be, really? We're living in the time of the game that some people may be referencing a decade later as like when it got good or really came into its own or it's super, you know, the good times. I don't know. At the moment right now, that's kind of 2nd edition is where we're getting a little bit of that old guy stuff. ooh, I liked this about second edition better, I like that about second edition better. Third will probably be remembered as the annoying edition, where gigantic content suffused GHBs became 5 pages of seasons for $50 that came with battle tactics that virtually everyone hated. But it still was a important transitional edition where they started to use big boy words a little bit in their rules. We started having keywords, at least for rules text, and using bold and stuff like that. I don't know. I feel like third is probably going to be one of those editions that people remember less fondly as time goes on, but who knows. It might also be remembered as the most balanced edition, perhaps, Germ, yeah, because third edition was the first edition of AOS that was even remotely balanced whatsoever. So there's not all bad news here. I'm just thinking about what kind of wild things people remember, that's all. The all your sub-factions are boring now. Here's some battle tactics you won't have fun with. Lamau edition. Yep. Yeah. It was the great boringifier of all the sub-factions and giving you less options for the same total number of options at the end of the day. Is it universal that nobody likes first edition? Depends on what you mean by first edition. First edition at launch, conceivably somebody liked it, but the general consensus is that it was a joke of a game. Everyone was kind of aghast. They couldn't believe, like, now that only lasted a few months, and then the General's Handbook #1 came out, and first edition became like an actual game you could play against people, you know. First edition was the Wild West. It was Marvel vs. Capcom. You had a general water level of people playing what was at that point kind of Age of Sigmar, where you got, here's my 30 guys, they move on to an objective, now you have to kill them, and if you manage to kill them, now I have the objective, the little area control, you know, using the mechanics of the game. And then you had like 6 or 7 armies that if everyone else was playing checkers, they were playing tactical nuclear war with missiles, and just like, I'm gonna ignore these rules of the game. This rule is written poorly, so it just works this way. You're dead. I can teleport and land inside your unit, and all these guys are up front. I do mortal wounds on 2-ups with all my attacks. I can run across the whole board and blow up the objectives that you are currently sitting under, and the game is instantly over on turn 1. I can't fail a save against any amount of rend unless I roll 2 1s in a row, and then I have a 5-up ward, and then I have another 5-up ward that I also get to roll, and then I have a 6-up ward after all that I once again still get to roll. Bonuses stacked to infinity. Like, it was the Johnny combo player edition. You had people playing chess and people playing checkers, generally speaking, and it was nutso. But there's a lot of fun to be had in unbalanced. Balance isn't even good, necessarily. For the most part, think back to the most fun video games of your childhood. The reason most of them were fun was not because of how perfectly balanced they were. It was actually because of how broken Hammer's Paladin was, of how overpowered this thing was that you just got to do and be powerful. Like, the unbalanced nature of some of that stuff was the reason why it was fun in the first place. Super bouncing, sure. ST Boxer. Yeah, whoever the fuck. Zhonghua Nightmare in Soul Calibur 2. Or Valdo if you were crazy good. Everybody else, just a step down. Ahem. Anyway, was it a better game? Definitely not. Not even close. It was a far worse game, but you can have a lot of fun with a game that isn't very good and just kind of finding its feet, right? It's like a movie. Big difference between good and entertaining. Big difference between the craft of cinema, you know, a film, how well made something is, the craftsmanship of it, and whether you enjoyed it or not. You know, people like bad movies. Most horror movies are just dog water, like made poorly, literally bad, but they know what their audience wants and they give it to them, and so they're entertaining. Isn't that what you should be at the end of the day, entertaining? You know, there have been some famous directors shitting on other directors quotes over the many years. But the nuclear option, the worst insult you can give from one director to another, is that your movies are boring. That's like the secret sauce insult, is boring. Not bad, not mistake, not, oh, wasn't good enough to do this, or flawed, or missed opportunity. It's boring. Because at the end of the day, that's what you're not trying to do. Scorsese, you hack. Did I like it continues to be the nuclear option when it comes to media discussion. I think, I don't know, everybody's got opinions on media discussion. And a few of those everybody's even might have came up with their own instead of copying them from a video they clearly just watched. Am I right? Having went to school for it, it's interesting to think about and notice. You can't watch Kubrick all day, but you can watch Carpenter, my man. For sure. Man had a crazy run. Good run, Carpenter. We went over, I don't know, on Discord some night I was looking over what's the Carpenter era, just banger. Old favorite of mine for sure. And in his old age he collects checks as he is allowed. Ghosts of Mars was not one of the bangers. That was essentially the end of the road. But look, I don't care what the worst movie you ever made was. I care if you made some fucking bangers, and he did. Yeah, his blank check run was great. The Old World is a badly written game and very janky and unbalanced, but it's super fun, more so than AOS. It could be. You know, for the first edition of a lot of games are kind of all over the place, you know. I don't know anything about it myself. Because I'm just not really interested in rank and flank very pseudo, but pseudo historical fantasy kind of stuff. I never played Warhammer Fantasy Battles. I have no nostalgia for it. And so I don't know anything about it really. Who had a longer run than Spielberg was the chat? Yeah. And I don't know if we found anyone. Spielberg had a crazy run. You know, we talked about all, you know, Kubrick and this and that, but John Ford had a longer run. I suppose if you open it up to the last century. We were thinking vaguely modern. I don't think we looked at anybody pre-60s in our discussion. You can't knock something that does what it says on the tin. I agree. Yeah. It reminds me of the shortest movie review of all time, but I'll never forget it. It was a movie review for Isn't It Romantic? The movie. And the review was, no. That's it. That's the best one. Great work. I don't know who did it, but... The most maddening thing is people not being able to form their own opinions, but you remember you literally went to school for that. Yeah, you know, it's not a skill that most people have. It's okay. I don't have an opinion about math, right? I don't know anything about math. And so I get my math opinions from other people, if I'm supposed to get one. But then I also say that, right? I'm like, well, I don't know about this, but I looked it up and apparently this is the thing. Just got back, you didn't miss the rules? No. No, we walk in the forest and I talk to chat, and then when that slows down, we go to the news and do the content. You're safe. You're marked safe. Your favorite are the reviews from Rough Criminal that are 10-second movie reviews in which 7 seconds is the intro and outro. You know, I'm tempted to do stuff like that because it seems so fun. From a content creator point of view, you just want to do that, you know? Like, make the clickbait thumbnail that asks a question, and then the video is, no. And then it just cuts the credits, and you make 100 videos that do that. Is this really, is this happening? Is what this person said? Is this the new? No. And then just cut the credits. Like, it's tempting to make like 100 videos like that just answer. I've thought about making a channel on YouTube called Clickbait Answers or something like that. And what I do is I source other people's thumbnails, like just the thumbnail, like straight copy it. 100% Control-C, Control-V, other famous, huge YouTubers, just their thumbnail. And then I do the video, and the video is answering the rhetorical question that they ask with a yes or no. Like the Cliff Notes version of YouTube. GW dying, question mark? No. Saved you a click, except watch time? Yeah, I guess so. Smug Astolfo emoji redeemed Switch hats. Sure. We can go big. Just put Ludwig into all the thumbnails. Easy. I gotta find a good butt pic. That's why he's famous. I'm kidding. But it's not the reason. Karnath redeemed meme ad. I'll get to it. Give me a second. Lord Swen, yeah. Community Notes Tube. I'm sure there's some like good name for it. Reminder, the whole paragraph of the rules news will answer many questions. Yeah, true. Well, usually I like to react sentence by sentence. Knowing full well that a lot of times it answers my musings or questions later on in the thing, but I like to show the unfurling narrative of reading something and being like, oh, that's broken, you could do this and this and that, and then you read, oh no, okay, they thought of that, so you can't do that. And it reinforces a little bit that they're doing a good job or that they thought about that. And also it gets chat typing, you know? Because they're like, streamer. Bottom of the paragraph, it answers your question. And they're being helpful, these people. This isn't, I'm not mocking them. It maybe sounds like I am. There's like a hair under the cat. You ever had that? Man, relatable streamer. You put a hat on and there's like one fucking hair and you can kind of see it. You can see it. And it's super blurry and it's somewhere. Anyway, flip your pillows over to the cold side, everyone. Relatable streamer. Ahem. You gotta milk each bit of content. You do. You do. I'm on the path to partner on Twitch. You gotta, for 2 months, you gotta do 8 streams each month that get over 75 viewers. So for these 2 months only, I actually care about metrics. And so I'm not playing waifu games with tomboys in them and narrating Road Warden and stuff because I'm trying to keep my numbers up. So far, they've been pretty good. But I apologize for the lack of fun streams. The fun will return when I either make partner or they tell me to go fuck myself. One of the two. Blap blap diddy doodly. First time chatter. In 30s and 40s, the hair not falling out is better than relatable. Oh, damn. Is it true? The head of hair? Look, all things in this world are transient. I have hair now, even though I'm kind of old. But someday, you know, like the snows of yesteryear, gone from this earth. HeyWoah. Good meme. HeyWoah. Clickbait thumbnail is HeyWoah farming engagement from helpless AOS fans. Yes. Well, actually, no. I'm an AOS fan. Not really farming engagement. Well, I suppose isn't everything farming engagement in a certain way? It's social media. You choosing to send any message at all, isn't that kind of, you know, blah, blah, blah. You could have a really boring, isn't everything technically, whatever, philosophical question about it. Good time for stream views with all the OS 4 stuff releasing piece by piece. Can be. That's exactly why I chose to do it. If I'm ever going to care about partner, it's when Games Workshop is giving me anything to fucking react to and talk about. And that's leading up to 4th. Ride the wave, right? It was a coward. No more fun tomboy streams. No, Dr. Phantasmo. Please don't misunderstand me. This is a temporary armistice. The barricades will be lifted. I'm just, for once, doing something even kind of smart for my own benefit as a content creator. Which I've so far I've managed to avoid making the good decisions so far. For once, I'm doing this is my one good decision for now. Please respect it. Yeah, the tomboy famine. I hope you have plenty stocked up for winter. I know I do. The ops took out the tomboys. I took out their quadrant. Thanks for the follow. Unhappy Camper 96. Good name, actually. Also, Booty Hero. Thanks for the big prime. I didn't notice that one earlier. You hope they start showing other armies besides Stormcast? For sure they will. I mean, the other launch army is Skaven. So it makes sense that we haven't seen any Skaven yet, because surely that's in the plans for next week, the week after, whatever. I'm sure there's going to probably be some Skaven week leading up to the release to build hype, and so they're already going to be talking about Skaven, and so they don't need to do that here. You could say, then why are they focusing on Stormcast? And I'd be like, well, look, they pumped the brakes a little, but they're still the poster boys, alright, so... HeyWoah is infecting me with a business degree background. I'm not. I say it all the time. whenever I comment on business-related matters, I generally, I take Vince's word for it or SG Arcade's word for it. I'm not a businessman. Fucking clearly, I'm a streamer. Yeah, I got a Bachelor of Fine Arts. I'm not a business. I barely know how to add and subtract. And so as it pertains to business stuff, I just, I listen to the experts. They can take our tomboys, but they can never take our freedom. True. Streamers need money too. Yeah, true. You know, the average streamer, well, actually, the average streamer makes $0. That's not a good statement. I can't remember what the statistic was, but it was like if you're watching a streamer that gets a few hundred views, they're making like half of the poverty line if they were just a streamer. Like $1 an hour or something like that. Like really, really low. It's something not to quit your day job over, which I haven't, so. That being said, it's kind of silly to think about a self-employed person, which is really what they are. They're a contractor. It's a little silly to think about that in an hourly wage, unless you're writing a contract for somebody. Hey, well, what are your thoughts on the Dark Oath stuff that dropped and the latest update out of the left field? Are these a taste of what's to come, or are they cooked? I think they're... You could maybe take a philosophical look at what direction the general play style and maybe the mechanics of the units, like what the unit's job is supposed to be. But to me, I consider it, oh, this is some stuff that is coming out, and then in 2 months it doesn't matter. Like dead on arrival kind of stuff. I don't know though. Mecha Godzilla, hey, thanks for the follow. Community can survive these challenging times if it gets more at HeyWoah in the content mines. Oh, he even rhymed. Good work. Yeah, Michael Scarborough, that's a good way of putting it. Lame duck rules. I know they did a battle scribe, or a battle scroll, whatever the fuck it's called. Too many battle words. You know? Anyway, the seasonal, or the points change thing, the patch. Can we call them patches? Is that just fine? This is like the Swan Song patch for 3rd edition. I wonder if there will even be an event to use it at, almost. I think there is. Stormcast in the launch video was tomboyish. Well, that would make sense. They're warriors. You know? I would expect a warrior to be pretty athletic. I should hope. Even with magic and lightning and everything like that, I would still expect at least a little bit of that kind of stuff going on. Lowest ranked streamer on twitchtracker.com, ranked 10,000, averages 270 viewers, and has 35.8k followers. I am not in that. I'm not in the 10,000. Still sad the Warcry units are getting snapped. Those sculpts are fun. Warcry sculpts are fun. Yeah, I like those a lot. Some of them I didn't like, but I appreciated that they were clearly given, maybe this is an implication or something, but it seems like they were given pretty big leeway in just getting creative with cultists. I'm sad that the Warcry stuff is so temporary, but we knew that that would be temporary when it was billed to us. They're like, here's Warcry. There's going to be a bunch of releases, and then we'll stop making them, and then there's going to be a bunch of other releases, and then another wave, and we'll stop making them, and another wave, and we'll stop making them. And at that point, I mostly tuned out. But it's still sad to see them making good on that. Kind of no way that they could support having, like, so many just making those Warcry things forever. But still, it was cool. They were cool. the launch races for 10th Ed 40K was Space Marines and Tyranids, and they got another wave of releases after the initial box set. Do you think that's going to happen for Stormcast and Skaven? No, yes. In that order. I don't think they'll put all the new Skaven stuff in the launch box. But I expect a lot of new stuff for Skaven. Because Skaven is getting the thing that Slaves to Darkness got, and Seraphon got, and you know, the Flesh Eater Courts to a lesser degree, but they still got. Which is, you got a bunch of old, fugly, old crap. Let's update it. Modern graphics, you know. That ogres will get mid edition, right? That's my hopium, yeah. That's my hopium. Ogres are next in line. They're either getting sliced off with the head, like BOC, or range refresh, Willy Wonka, fucking Candyland. Hoping for the latter. Skaven's getting what Seraphon got? Attention? No. A refresh of the model line. Partial. Most of Warcry Warband have a good look to them, except the new Creek Elves. Oh, okay. The Nurgle Warcry models are really good. A lot of them are really cool, I think. They finally dropped the points on the EOTG, and now all the rules will change in 2 months. That's good though, Rayvel. Those points changes were just like clear indications that they know what the problem is. The tool they were given to solve the problem is points, which can't fix most of those problems. But it's a nice nod to being like, okay, this thing, there's something wrong with this. And for the past 2 years, we've been going over every Warscroll in the game to fix it. Fix it. Who knows? But, I don't know. I think it's enough for some hopium. They're called wet elves. I've read that manga. You want to see Cenozoic? Oh. Mammalesque stuff for ogres. Interesting. Yeah, I wonder what they're going to do with that. Because ogres come in 2 types. Beast Claw Raiders, which do actually feel AOS-ified enough. I mean, you could always use a little more, but the whole blizzard following them, the snow theme, it feels souped up enough for AOS. It doesn't feel out of place. To me, Gutbusters feel a little bland, a little old world, a little just sort of one note, you know? Not quite so zany next to all this other fantasy stuff, you know? So I'm looking to see what they do, facelifting the ogre theme, like Gutbuster identity even, and maybe some visual stuff to go along with it. All right, 2 people redeemed meme ads, so I'm going to get to them. BRB, 1 min. Please enjoy a word from our sponsors.
Right now, you could be savoring the rich, creamy flavor of angel food ice cream. It's the extra cream in angel food that blends all of your favorite flavors so they're always smooth and creamy, never pointy. How about some rich and creamy angel food ice cream right now?
Right now, and 2 people redeemed, so I will be playing 2 commercials. How about a lewd collage? We gotta save the lewd collage. Let's get an SG Arcade in here.
Hey, kid.
You like magic cards, right, kid?
Oh, fuck yeah, this is shit. Kill me now.
Well Pull out your wallet, you little shit beast, because SG Arcade has a TCG player storefront for you. Tell your friends, too bad you don't have any. Just call 1-800-420-6900 or steer your web browser to the sgarcade.com superhighway. Holy fuck these deals. If you go where this stream advises to shop, the cream rises to the top. Oh yeah. Hell yeah, brother. Oh, a public service announcement. Do not call that number. I made the number when I was making the commercial as a funny meme number. It is a phone sex line. Somebody from chat was like, that's a phone sex line. And I'm like, nah. And so I called it on the microphone. It was. The original HeyWoah Twitch clip. Yeah, operator standing by. Was that hard-boiled? Yes. No, that wasn't hard-boiled. That was Under Siege. That was Under Siege when Steven Seagal makes the bomb in the microwave. That was the clip. You missed the bustin' days? Damn, remember the New Year stream where I streamed for like 9 hours or something? Maybe 12. And it was just the Bustin' song for 12 hours. And I was at the computer most of the time. Yeah, the wokes killed Bustin', true. Did anyone see if Dark Oath actually get the Chaos Warhounds? In an article, the Dark Oath were called the Hounds of Chaos or something. Seems weird for not to have dogs. I don't know, the Diamond Dogs didn't have any dogs. Well... aside from Diamond Dog, aside from the one dog in there. That one was added later, though. I mean, it's called Foxhound. And there were no foxes and no hounds. What the fuck? The other one was Zoff. And there were no Zoffs. Bustin' 2.0 bumper with the Mint Phantom A cover. Ooh, speaking of Metal Gear. True. Alright, I gotta do that next time I have some free time. Wait, why can't we have Bustin' anymore? It's a meme, we're joking. It's one of those yokes. AOS Gutbusters, a unit that takes off their gut plates and they have like monstrous mouths mouths underneath. You know, Korn has some of that stomach mouth stuff. I think that's dumb. Nurgle has some of that stomach mouth stuff too, and I think that's dumb too. But then again, I don't play Gutbusters. Maybe Gutbuster players will think that's cool. Then again, as we move forward, I bet the two halves of ogres are probably going to get more and more intermixed, so maybe I should start caring about what that half of the faction looks like. Please. Oh, Matara, let's go. A Plibit meme. Alright. What I like about ogres is big guns and big monsters, and a balance of shooting and melee. So if that sticks around, I'll be happy. Yeah, pretty much the same. Phase Rune. I don't play Gutbusters, but conceptually what I like about Gutbusters is big cannons. Just cannons. The dude's walking around just holding cannons, broadside guns, and like Skybreaker cannons and stuff. That shit's sweet. The rules, not so much, but like just the idea of it is sick. And then I like big monsters. So if I keep impact hits on the charge, and then the guns get good, well, fucking, you know, welcome to Pound Town. Hey Barracuda, thanks for gifting a sub to Crow Roost. Appreciate it. Crow Roost, good meme. Hold up. I didn't look at the name. Did I miss a good meme? And they got a gift sub from it. Was it the thing that I just talked about, actually? Nope, it's lost forever. Oh, they got that dog in them, I see. Anyway. Hey, Say one funny thing, get a sub, imagine. Big news? I think it's time for big news, man. We've talked for long enough. There's actually a lot of news. So now I click the button. Top story tonight, with a little bit of music in the background. Two news articles, and big ones. One was from Wednesday, I believe. Wednesday or Thursday. But I always just do them all on Friday. We're going to do the previous one first. We're doing them in chronological order. Big. I fucking love news. YouTube sucks. Zeno just commented, I fucking love news. That's a funny comment. I had to click allow. I'm trying to do a stream, and YouTube is like, oh, use the naughty word. Can you click the button? Yeah, just fucking chill. There's got to be settings somewhere where I can relax that stuff. It's a funny comment. You think Bustin' Dono meme may be broken? Enjoy 69 anyway. Fucking news. Oh, okay, so now my chat can troll me live by typing so that I have to click it over and over. Good meme, actually. Good meme. Oh no, it might be broken. SG Arcade, thanks for the donation. It's huge. But, okay, nobody donate anything. The shit's broken, so you don't get your meme. And I tried to rerun it, didn't work. Oh no, the robot. Is the robot dead? Please help. Damn, that's a rough one. Hey, I apologize. OBS killed Husbando. Anyway, that's a huge donation that nobody got to see, which is very sad. Thanks for the $69, SG Arcade. Shit ain't nothing to me, man. I appreciate it. Robot actually dead. I gotta rouse it. Is this a Warhammer Weekly stream? Are you implying that being somewhat technologically illiterate it has anything to do with a Warhammer Weekly stream? How dare? First of all, how dare you? Kuma Bear 91. So your name is Bear, essentially. Good name. First time chatter. Hopefully they make the hand cannons damage 2 with this edition. Them dealing as much damage as a blowgun always threw you off. Yeah. I mean, the reason they do is because they don't shoot cannonballs. They just put scrap metal into them, so they're like big shotguns, which is kind of cool, but only after I said the word shotgun. Before I said that, it was stupid. I hope they just shoot. I hope they're just cannonballs. That's all. I want them to do cannon stuff. Thanks for the $5. Briar Soul, I appreciate it. All the alerts are broken. And there's no way to fix that. It's impossible. RIP alerts. Thanks for the $5. Briar Soul, appreciate. Yep. Just dead. Hey, that's a rough one. Yeah, make them a cannon, right? Don't talk about Tom's show like that. Oh yeah, that's right. I was supposed to have a meeting with Tom. He wanted like some sort of advice on getting alerts working. I'm kidding. That's a joke. About the alerts not working. But he wanted like some audio setup thing, and I'm horrible at audio. Not good at dealing with. I'm more of a video editing kind of person. Hit the joke button. That's a joke. Shall we get to the article? It's time. The Fires Combat. Rage higher than ever in new AOS. Warhammer Age of Sigmar is a game of combat. Kinetic clashes between mighty heroes, twisted monsters, and warriors tempted in the fires of 1,000 battles. That should have been tempered, pardon me. The melee is the core element of the game, and the rules for fighting at close quarters have been tuned for the new edition to make these conflicts feel more epic than ever before. And also, from everything I've been seeing, they really want to streamline this process. They don't want games to take 3.5 hours. Which I guess in general I kind of agree with. The music is like a touch loud, I'm going to be honest. When it goes up, it goes a little too high up. I'm going to tap it. Give it a tap. Sorry to interrupt, but can you turn the music down? I detected that when I was just reading this first part. Appreciate it, though. People are looking out for the stream. The only loud track from Road War's the first one, so... Ogre Range Refresh would need to replace everything with models troll size to be OS. Ogres are too small. Big agree, yes. Yeah, the size creep has been a bit of an issue. So, humongously agree. And the most recent new ogre they made, which was Hrothgorn's some guy man-trapper. Super small. They got the size completely wrong on him. And then the Bloodpelt Hunter, also way too small. So I'm starting to get like just a little bit concerned here that they don't know how big an ogre is supposed to be. Actual concern. I mean, we can only hope, I guess, but geez. How big is the COS skinny boy? Bigger, actually, which is, that's nice. It's nice to know they haven't forgotten. Was the Warcry Ogres the new scale? I'm thinking that the Gorgers are probably more along the lines of the new scale, hopefully. More of an ogrelette, yeah. They keep including Warcry teams in photos. Over here we got the Iron Golems. Possibly one of the ones that got retired. But consider that even though it says new AOS on here, this picture is an old picture. They're just reusing it. And I mean, imagine just reusing something that you've already made. You know, imagine reusing the same assets. I mean, how lazy can you possibly be? Reusing the same assets over and over. You know what I mean? Like, who would do that? Anyway, meme over. Good work. You're cutting this into its own video. Hey, apologies for giving you some extra work. We saw this one already. Yeah, true. GW would never use retired models in promotional materials. Yeah. Let's get to getting on. The changes to commands meant that countercharge and power through are powerful new tools to turn the tides of battle. We've already seen that every miniature now has combat range in a 3-inch radius. And this simple change has plenty of far-reaching ramifications that result in a smoother and more satisfying combat phase. Cold brewed, cold filtered, crisp, refreshing, all natural, satisfying combat phase. How nice. What was the organ metal? That was some good shit. That was from my new intro today. It's music from Ultra Kill, a game by New Blood Studios, which can't seem to be missing recently. Stopped mid-air drum. Same great combat phase taste with half the calories. Combat in the Age of Sigmar. Players familiar with the current edition, that's me. I'm familiar with the new edition. Will find the new process very similar. Units still charge into combat and fight, but these now also work as abilities with clearly defined declarations of independence and effect steps. Your charge. Oh, we had a question about charge last time when we read it. It seemed to imply that you had to roll before you decided to re-roll. Or the other way around, sorry. The way it was written before, we're like, damn, do you have to call your shot on re-rolling it before you roll the dice? That would suck, actually, and change a lot. But maybe you roll as part of the declare, and that would fix everything. And we didn't know yet, you know? It turns out, here we go, declare. Pick a friendly unit that is not in combat and has not used run or retreat. Then, make a charge roll 2d6. It's part of the declare. Matt Rose. Fixed. They knew. They knew. Also, this is getting into the gears of game design a little bit. You do want to randomly determine if something is going to work or not, probably as soon as possible in your different steps of doing something. Because it's simply a time saver. You don't want to have to pick a target and half do something, and then maybe the opponent has a chance to do something and you have to make a decision about it. And then after you spend maybe 20 seconds on that, then you roll a die and it turns out it doesn't work anyway. You might as well have shifted that die roll to the beginning. So you could be like, do I even have to think about this at all? Failed the roll? No. Okay, move on. Just for like streamlining play purposes. You tend to want to make sure something works as soon as possible in its thing. And sorry, Warbeard 227, my alerts are dead and I don't know why, and there's nothing that I can do to fix it at all. I apologize. Thanks for the $6.90. Sorry that the meme. Sorry for the no meme. I wonder what the issue is. There's just nothing I could do besides closing the stream and going offline and coming back online. I'm sure that would fix it. Anyway, Matt Rose does it again. It looks like codified in the charge is if it has not used run or retreat. And so a way that you could make an ability in the future is something has like you can make a charge as though you haven't run or something like that. Exception based design, right? Airtight, watertight, yeah. The unit can move a distance up to the value of the charge roll. That unit can move through the combat ranges of any enemy units and must end the move within a half inch of a visible enemy unit. If it does so, the unit using this ability has charged. Okay? And so the implication here is if you cannot end the move within a half inch of a visible enemy unit, you have to be able to see them. You can't charge through a wall. If you don't have line of sight, you can't charge. I think that's new. I think that's a new thing. Visible enemy unit. Spell that invisibility spell, and now people can't charge you either. Interesting. Design space. And if it does so, the unit using the ability has charged. So you have not charged if you failed the roll or you decided not to move, actually. Right. I like how it's still optional. It's can. You still roll, and you don't have to if you don't want to. You look over your little men in the elephant graveyard, and you're like, do I want to do this? I like that you can make the decision knowing the most information possible you haven't technically charged if you didn't do it. That was they're kind of getting ahead of like FAQ questions here, which I like. The value of the charge roll. I wonder if value is our language for roll plus bonuses or something like that. Hey, well, lucky I play on ice skating rinks. I bet the majority do. But still, that's interesting. And I bet you could make up spell for that. If Cruel Boys don't have some sort of visibility thing, we riot, you know? Yeah, the converted mana cost of a charge. Don't you mean mana value? Three colorless. Don't you mean generic? Ugh. Yes, but can Matt Rule answer does 5 equal 10? Yeah. We saw a war scroll. It said 1 per 5. Right? If it was 1 per 10, it would mean 1 per 10. Self-explanatory. You hope Cruel Boy gets some BOC ambushing rules? Yeah, if somebody would get... I don't think this is how it works. But why leave a cool idea on the table? If somebody's going to get something like the ambushing stuff that BOC got, I mean, Cruel Boys is right there. They're just... Please. It would be cool if Nighthaunt could ignore the visibility thing. Yeah, Xeno. I didn't even think of that, but... Yeah, because they're ghosts. They can maybe they can see through physical objects a little bit, like some ethereal plane kind of Dungeons and Dragons thing. I think that totally fits. And you can be like, Nighthaunt can charge even if the target is not visible or something like that. I didn't even think of that, but that makes perfect sense. I think Nighthaunt, even more so than Fly, it would be neat if they phased through stuff. Maybe that's the same thing, it's just how you explain it. But yeah, pretty much that is just Fly, isn't it? I don't think there's actually a real difference. Do Nighthaunt technically even have eyes? Not sure. A lot of them are sheets, you know, with a skull underneath. They have magic eyes. Out of curiosity, when would it come up that a target isn't visible within a half inch? If there's a wall. So like you have one guy here, right here, and then there's a wall terrain, and then on the other side one guy. And he can't charge because he can't see him. There's a giant wall in the way. And so that would be a situation where you couldn't charge because you couldn't see them. That didn't have anything to do with, like, you know, when this unit's in cover, they're not visible, or some rule thing, right? My long answer, I guess, is terrain, which I would gather that the majority of players don't play with very much terrain. And even more don't use the mysterious terrain rules, and only half because most of them don't do anything except for arcane. Sometimes the other one actually as well, but you can charge and go around the wall. You could if you could see it, but you can't, right? It's now right now you can, but in the future with the visible thing you can't, right? That's you saying, but I can charge and go around the wall is sort of like me saying I could shoot your guys that are invisible because they're within range of my shots, but I can't see them. So like there would be the it doesn't say that. Oh, am I reading this too quickly? Let's see. That unit can move through the can move a distance up to the value of the charge roll. The unit can move through the combat ranges of any enemy units and must end the move within half inch of a visible enemy unit. If it does so, the unit using this ability is charged. Oh, you mean by the time it gets to a half inch, that's the point in time when they have to be visible. Not at the beginning. I think that's what you're saying, right? Visible isn't a requirement to do it. It's an end result that has to be. And I don't know, man. I kind of agree with you now that I read it this way. So now the question becomes, why write visible? Well, I guess it would be with abilities then. It wouldn't be terrain. I don't think you can make a terrain situation where you can physically get within a half an inch. No, it's still the terrain thing. It would just be that the unit wouldn't, if the unit doesn't have enough movement to go all the way around, but it could get within a half inch except there's a wall there, you can't do that, right? So that's what this stops. If the units are like right next to each other, but you couldn't have otherwise gone around. You can't fight through walls, in other words. And this applies to, like, if you're currently invisible, then, you know, it would still stop that. Okay, I think we've come closer to it. And it ends up being the same. I should have just pretended I knew, because it's functionally the same as what I said, except for a slightly different reason. Well, SJ, we'll edit that. I gotta look smart on YouTube. You know, this is the downside of doing React Andes. You don't read it over beforehand, as I don't. But the point is, I think we meandered to the correct outcome. Anyway, this is good. We were concerned it would be the other way. It's not. I like the visible change. It opens up some cool stuff for rules in the future. It means walls add an inch to the required charges. Walls add a lot more than that, depending, Gameri. Like, if you gotta go over the wall, and the wall is 4 inches high, the wall adds essentially 9 inches to your charge, because you gotta go up and down, depending on how close. No, you have to be within a half inch, it says. So, yeah, terrain is supremely annoying to play with, which is why many people doubt, which is also why flying is so overpowered. Anybody that uses a monster that only moves like 10, the fucking pain. You gotta rappel down the side of the wall to fight somebody. Definitely could also apply to units that are made invisible by an ability. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking on this charge thing. Tion. Maybe like units that you could easily imagine, like some cruel boy unit that when they're in terrain you can't target them. You could imagine some wizard casts a spell, they're invisible until some condition is met or whatever, what have you. You could imagine some like deep striking unit that you put there before the battle, and they got like blankets over them with snow on top of it, and they're just waiting, and they throw them off and ambush like in a cutscene or something. You could pull stuff like that. Yeah, chameleon skinks, that's also a good one. Stuff that's naturally like an octopus, or yeah, like from Willow, true. In the combat phase, this unit is not visible until it fights or something. That'd be like a really roundabout way of giving them fight first, but I think it might be different enough. You could write something like that for sure. What I might do, Dread Emperor Irritant. I wrote like a custom rule a million years ago for the Icebrow Hunter, and his thing was, he is not visible to enemy units until he has attacked or something like, until he has made an attack. So you could do something like that. It's a little abusable because then you could just run away from combat and be unkillable or something, and you'd have to put a little clause in there or something. But yeah, put a napkin over the unit, but then place use a red one of those red party cups. Put 3 red party cups, and then at some point, every battle round, your opponent gets to lift one off. And if your little Gloomspite Gits hero is under it, then he dies. But if he's under the last one, then, you know, you get something or some cool thing happens. I don't know. You could really soup things up. Bring in some first edition stuff from it. At least the way it's being written, you can still fight non-visible stuff. You just can't charge with them. Oh, I wondered about that. And it's been on screen, but I've been looking at chat instead. Does fight have visible in it? Pick a friendly unit that is in combat or that charged to use this ability. In combat or that charged. Oh, we maintained the charge, but nobody's around. You get to pile in thing. Nice. I actually like that rule. I'm glad we kept it. We've been getting rid of a lot of stuff like that. That unit can make a pile-in move. Then if that unit is in combat, you must pick 1 or more enemy units as the target, so that unit's attacks. Effect, resolve combat attacks against the target. Yep. Yeah, no visible language. Okay. So you can still fight through walls. You just have to more creatively get into that position, but you can still fight through walls. You don't need visibility. You just need to be within 3. I see. Okay. I like that we're keeping the pile in after you charge if there's no guys around. That's kind of nice. Speaking of first edition, by the way, in first edition, fighting was optional. You did not have to attack with all your weapons. You could attack with some of them, but not others. You could decide simply not to attack, like you can with shooting, for instance. And so in first edition, there were actually a lot of units that were like pin cushion units. Whenever you fight them, for every 6, they reflect a mortal wound, or for every time they get hit, they reflect a mortal wound or something. And so people would just simply choose not to attack. And that type of unit was kind of worthless because of that. In second edition, they changed that. It might have even been before second edition, but I remember distinctly in first, you didn't have to attack, and people often didn't. You stand close to the wall so that your opponent can't fit their models in between you and the wall. You could pile into a wall fight if you already, charged from a different visible unit, you know, you could do that. Fight through walls, the Night Haunt tale, like the Frighteners. With, wait, was Marty McFly in the Frighteners? Am I remembering this correctly? Anyway, never mind. HeyWoah writing Gene Stealer cult rules. Oh, are they like octopuses? Can you move within 3 without charging if enemy not visible? No. It seems to be that they really spell out that unit can move through the combat ranges of enemy units, right? So that, to me, when they spell that out in charge or pile in, it means that normal movement doesn't have that. And so I don't know if anybody was playing like this. I think a few people were, but in Age of Sigmar, you have to drive your men like a truck. Usually people just pick them up and put them, right? Because it saves time. But you can't move through 3-inch combat of enemy units. You can't move through them and end up outside of it. And it seems like they're keeping that with this edition. So if you have like 2 enemy units here, you can't go in between if it overlaps. No fly zone. Well, actually it is a fly zone, because fly gets to ignore that rule too, because fly is overpowered. But the common man, you know, like me, without flying, I have to abide by the speed limit and all roadside signage. Dread Amber. In 40k, fight range was 1 inch or base to base, so people could hide 09 behind an 02 wall, so they were impossible to fight because you couldn't fit bases between them and the wall. You have a sneaking suspicion something similar is going to happen. Well, this one is just within 3 inches. You can, so far, you can fight if you're within 3 inches of anything. Very often, almost no matter what, you usually can find some kind of like rogue dueling a fighter in vanilla WoW, like Dead Zone kind of thing, where they can't quite charge because combat hasn't dropped, they can't quite intercept, you know, that kind of thing. I'm sure there will inevitably be some sort of situation like that. You're just trying to make those as rare as possible. And so far these sound pretty rare, but I guess who knows. Yo, I'm all out of DP cream. Let me re-up BRB, and we'll continue our tackles.
Introducing the best news for ice cream lovers since ice cream began. New Simple Pleasures. It's everything you love about ice cream, but no point. New Simple Pleasures is unbelievably rich, incredibly creamy, and absolutely top. Oh yeah. Because New Simple Pleasures is made with all natural pure athlete, yeah. Instead of point. New delicious all natural Simple Pleasures. There's never been an ice cream like it.
All right, we back. Time to freshen up. Does anybody play T9A? I don't know what that is. Xena would then know? Mean. A cruel answer, but a funny one. I don't know what T9A is. Pure athlete, yeah. Only reason you could think for balance, avoiding the novelty of the pick a hand, would be potential rules that might allow you to add a +1 or set a result on any die or something like that. I could see that. Then, in the rule that talks about setting the result to the die, they would have to explain what to do in that situation, right? Just get ahead of the, have I played Helltaker? Game's kind of nice. Like the art especially. Put your die on the Macho Man's little, yeah, the little creamer cups. Ahem. The order of operations is generally much clearer this edition. Good. Look at this dude. This fucking lad. Also, nice snake lady. There are no more start of phase, end of phase, sub phases. Oh, in each phase, the active player uses any of their abilities in whichever order they want, and then their opponent can do the same. Like the Ardboy's Shield Bash and the Blood Sisters' Crystal Touch. Good. Good, you just use your abilities. Good. She's got the touch. Yeah. Any combat phase. Ardboy's Shield Bash. Also, we noticed it last time, but I really like up here, any combat phase. Your combat phase. Opponent's combat. Just letting us know at the very top exactly when you're gonna be using this. Great. Big fan. Did you see the new DP flavor? Creamy coconut. I'm gonna try it next time I go outside, which is probably gonna be next week. I think maybe next week Tuesday. I think I'll go outside for grocery shopping. We'll see if they have it. I'm interested in the new DP flavors. Yeah, Pina Colada, good one. Pick an enemy unit in combat with this unit and that charged this turn to be the target. Okay, they had to charge, and so you got a little bit of an anti-charge rule here. Make a shield bash roll of d6 for each model in this unit. Nice. So the models in the unit don't need to be within range. You're just... Because otherwise you would have to individually roll for all of them and it would waste time. So just like, you know what? Do the fucking thing, right? Throw the dice. For each 6 up, inflict a mortal wound on the target. Nice. Nice. Sorry, not mortal wounds. Yo, I've been saying the word mortal wounds for 7 years. I'm gonna try to say mortal damage moving forward, but work with me here. I'm set in my ways. So allow me to, let's put this into perspective. There are no more start of phase, end of phase stuff. So it's my turn, right? It's my turn, I charge Ardboys. And I'm active player, so what I do is I declare I'm the active player, and I use any of their abilities in whichever order they want. So the opponent has to wait until I'm done with all of them, right? As far as I understand it. So it's my turn, I charge into Ardboys. Combat starts. I get to use all my abilities, and then one of the ability that I get to use is called Fight. And so I fight and I kill them all. And so they can't use Shield Bash because they're dead. But on their turn they get the Shield Bash stuff. So it's not really an anti-charge. On their turn they could Shield Bash, but only if their opponent charged on their turn, right? I'm interested to see what they're gonna do, because we saw another anti-charge thing. Remember the Warscroll we read Monday? People with lances got +1 rend against somebody that charged them. And I'm like, yeah, but they're dead. So who cares if they get +1 rend on their attacks if you're dead, right? I wonder what they're gonna do about that. I wonder if there's a way around this. Maybe maybe up here, maybe all your non-fight, like because fight is an ability, but maybe it's a special ability where they're like, you get to use all your funny-duddy abilities, and then the opponent gets to use all their funny-duddy abilities, and then only after that do you start fighting, you know? Even though fight is also an ability. Maybe that's how they'll work it out, because otherwise shit like this wouldn't matter. You're dead, right? Maybe the combat phase will be special insofar as you use your abilities and then after that you fight, even though fight is also an ability, which kind of muddies the water a little bit here. Maybe later on do they... Okay, never mind. Yeah, they talk about it later. We'll figure it out later. Fight abilities go after all the others. Okay. So actually, there kind of are subphases then. They said there's no subphases. But if you fight after other abilities, and fight is an ability, then there kind of are subphases just without the names, right? Maybe that's just this person typing. I'm not saying it's confusing. I don't think it will be. But anyway, let's look at the Crystal Touch. Pick an enemy unit in combat with this unit to be the target. Roll a die. If the roll exceeds the target's health characteristic, the target has strike last for the rest of the turn. Okay. Yeah, you would have to order... You'd have to put all the abilities before fighting. Otherwise, Crystal Touch is shit, right? Well, okay, it's not shit if you fight with two different units in the same turn, but you get it. Also, it says roll a dice. Doesn't say roll a d6. Busting out my spherical D100 for this one, boys. I'm sure they define dice in the rules to mean a d6 unless stated otherwise. I bet that's the actual sentence. But it's still funny to think about. Roll a D100, 78. Nice. That's higher than the health characteristic. Got him. It's interesting that over here it says d6 and this says roll a dice. But I wonder what the formatting... Why the difference in formatting? Maybe because this one is roll once and this one is roll for each. Maybe it's the class, the type of ability. If you have to roll a die and compare it to something, maybe the nomenclature is roll a die. But if you're not comparing it to something, it's just a target number, maybe you lay it out like that. Maybe that's the reason. Everyone screaming at the screen as HeyWoah theorizes. Please, keep reading. Just scroll down. Roll a D100 and get 2 anyway? Yeah, true. Maybe because target number... Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Maybe it's because it's a target number. Maybe because you're rolling a bunch of them instead of just one. Thinking about it. I don't know. It didn't say there are no subphases, just that specifically there's no start. Oh yeah, true. They didn't say just those 2 phases. There are still other subphases, just not these 2 specifically. Alright. I'd like that stricken from the record. Maybe we were overthinking and they just messed up. Probably not. But who knows? The combat phase has one significant difference to the other phases. After both players have resolved any of their other abilities, they then take it in turns to activate units to use fight ability. Okay, so it's like we said. It's like we thought. Fight is a special type of ability. Starting with the active player. Strikes first and strikes last effects are still very much in the mix, occurring on either side of the standard fight timings. So no fight order bonus to charging? No. That's a 40k rule that makes sense in 40k land. But in Age of Sigmar, if you got to fight first when you charged, it would be like stupendously overpowered. Game warping almost. Because you got to remember in AOS, it's an entirely combat-centric game. At any one time, there's probably no more than 5 individual units in the entire game that meaningfully shoot, really. Everybody whines about them, everyone complains about them, but really at the end of the day, for all intents and purposes, there's almost no shooting in this game that really matters. And so as a combat-focused game, if you got to always strike first when you charged, as a core rule, that would be kind of absurd. As an army rule, fair, because now you're balancing around that and stuff, but... Didn't they used to have that at one point? They had rules on, like, this unit can fight first, that unit can fight first, but that's very different than anyone who charges in the whole game, right? Way different, way different. Coupled with all-out attack and all-out defense, the combat phase remains a tense and strategic affair. Units cannot make shooting attacks if they are in combat. Ooh, okay, alright. We're adding this. We're adding this to the game. I'm kind of sad to see it go. You can't shoot someone with a pistol if they're in the same melee as you. It's impossible. Kind of sad to see it go. I wonder about the implications, though, balance-wise. It means that ranged units are even more useless in melee combat than they otherwise were, and they basically were already, right? Most ranged units that got into combat with anything instantly died anyway, so sort of like whatever. Unless their weapons have the shoot in combat ability. Oh. Well, you just write that on whoever. So tagging a missile unit is a great opportunity for counterplay. Okay. The bait is real, it has to be. Keep reading! You can still shoot into combat, though, right? Because that's the thing that people who care about realism are mad about, right? Shooting into combat, that's the thing those people complain about. And so that's still here. Personally, I don't understand why they're even mad about it. I don't care. Why can't you shoot into combat? I don't get it. You're a stickler for realism with an army of magma salamanders? Yeah, I just think... I don't know, man. It feels like the wrong... It's so easy to write off any realism problem with, but there's dragons and magic. Like, that's simply too easy. I think it's almost a cop-out in a lot of ways, right? Oh, who cares if this thing isn't realistic? There's dragons in the game. Who cares if that thing isn't realistic? There's magic in the game. Well, magic makes sense because it follows rules. You explain that magic is real. A lot of times, you actually want the parts of the game that are closest to the lives of the players are going to stick out like sore thumbs if they're not realistic. And there isn't like a good reason for it. Yeah, logically consistent versus realism, really. This is why if, you've seen drawings, and you've seen drawings of somebody, they're an archer, right? So they're pulling it, but like, let's say they're holding it with like their bottom two, and they're holding it over here, right? They're using a bow strictly wrong in a way that wouldn't work, right? But they're standing on top of a dragon. Would you say that, oh, you can't complain that they're using a bow wrong because there's a dragon standing over there, so all rules are out? Oh, no. So I get you, and I partially agree with the there's dragons and magic thing, but also, if your excuse is that magic is in the world, then there better be a magical explanation for why someone's doing something impossible. Or just completely wrong, I guess. I don't know. What do you think? What do you think about that? Like shooting into melee. Legolas can shoot into a melee and probably hit his targets. It's fine. Realistically, no. Shooting into a crowd is like a war crime, basically, right? Like, you can't do that. In a more simulation style game, or maybe a historical battle game or something like that, shooting into a melee that possibly includes your own guys would be something that, you know, the like psycho bad guys would do, and there would be like chances to hit your own friends or something like that. Maybe in D&D you'd need a feat to be able to do it or something like that. In a war game that's streamlining combat to be you can fight anybody within 3 inches of you, who cares? It's kind of like, let them just shoot, you know? If there's no need for realism in a fantasy game, then why do dragons have wings to fly? Yeah, kinda. Let me guess. HeyWoah disrespecting precise shot. Take that -48. No, I'm just saying you need a feat for it. Strategy of tying up units in combat or using combat strategically is fun. I agree. Skaven should get bonuses to shooting into combat. Yeah. Something to do with realism. A good game is a series of interesting decisions, and combat is a tool. Making shooting more interesting is something you enjoyed in Tober systems. Anyway, how do I feel about this? You know, a lot of stuff is probably going to have shoot in combat, right? But I would have to imagine that artillery style stuff wouldn't, you know. So tagging that kind of thing in combat is probably a play. Again, perhaps not Skaven artillery. I can think of a few factions that would pull the trigger on their war machine point blank and just deal with the consequences, you know, for sure. But still. What about the shotgun-toting dwarf pirates? I mean, that would be a shoot in combat. Like, Thunderers, for sure, have shoot in combat, 100%. Maybe not Arcanaut Company, but Thunderers, for sure. Actually, Arcanaut Company have pistols. I would imagine that a pistol is probably the definitive shoot in combat style weapon, you would imagine, right? So... anyway, something like that. Yeah, they got a pistol and a cutlass. It feels like right up the shooting combat's alley. Combat abilities sequence. I'm interested. Let's go. Active players' combat phase abilities. Not fight. Alright, it's what we thought. Fight's just special. That's all. No problem. Gunblade, why not? Damn. Final Fantasy VIII enjoyers. Little rough divide. Oh, Renzo Kukin. Do you think Cruel Boys have bayonets in the lore? Yeah, on their models. I can't remember. They probably... I'd give it a good chance. I can't remember what their models look like, but I know they have spikes everywhere. I wouldn't put it past them. The definitive shooting combat weapon is beard pistols. Oh yeah, true. Yeah. From Lord High Magnate Cave Johnson. Yeah. Lord of the Rings allows evil armies to shoot into combat with a risk of hitting your own guys. Good armies aren't allowed to. Yeah, that makes perfect sense to me. Opponent combat phase abilities, not fight, and then players alternate using fight abilities, starting with the active player. Okay, this makes perfect sense. It also makes Shield Bash, right? Shield Bash good. Shield Bash is a legitimate anti-charge thing because you do your mortals before they fight. Those dudes with spears that get +1 rend when they get charged, not necessarily a very good anti-charge thing because they might be dead before they actually get to use the fight ability. So it looks like we're hit and miss on that kind of thing. Then again, who knows how I don't know how deadly this game is going to be. Age of Sigmar, historically, a very deadly game. I'm not saying it's a glass cannon game, but that's how players built their armies, right? To just atomize anybody they fought. There have historically been a few anvils that were like so crazy you couldn't kill them with almost anything, but in general it's just a very deadly game. Maybe Age of Sigmar 4th isn't. Maybe I'm thinking about the +1 rend against the charge thing in the context of how AOS so far has been. If a real hammer charges you, then you are dead. That's it. You are simply dead, right? But maybe that's not how it'll be in 4th Ed. They were looking at all the Warscrolls, right? The dudes with spears get +1 rend and strike first on a 4-up. Oh, I forgot about the strike first rule. Cruel Drew. I forgot about the strike first rule. Then, it looks like they have a 50-50 chance of being an anti-charge thing. Interesting. If you have one anti-charge unit share, but if you're running 3 units Iron Boys of Spears, unless your opponent is fighting first across the board. In general, that kind of thing would... I mean, are you guys getting into that many combats? Are you getting into three meaningful combats every turn? I don't play with a lot of models on the table, so... Like, most of us don't have 4 monster trucks, yeah. All of this will serve to inform whether or not a bunch of this kind of thing happens, right? How many fights are you trying to get into on your turn? It kind of depends on a bunch of the underpinning rules. Oh, true, Jacob Rogers. The fact that the opponent can charge you on your own turn, if that's going to be good for them, then they'll probably do it. You can generally count on your opponent to do things that will help them. Or at least that's how you should play, and then just get a happy surprise if they make a mistake or something. Man, this is too slow. We're looking at the same page for like 15 minutes. Please speed things up. I will not. But thanks for the comment, and don't be mean to that person. They're probably looking for maybe like a video or something, but this is live, so I have conversations with viewers. A unit can perform a pile-in move as part of the fight ability, allowing models to move up to 3. Every model in that unit... Oh, okay, we're going to get... I don't know why they just state that up here. I'm just going to read the actual rule, right? Some abilities such as fight abilities allow a unit to make a short move called a pile-in move to get into a better position for combat. To do so, if your unit is in combat, pick an enemy unit in your is in combat with to be the target of the... So you have to choose a target for the pile-in move. It's kind of mostly similar to what we're doing right now, right? Each model in your unit can move up to 3. That move can pass through the combat ranges of enemy units. Yeah, something that... This is a sentence they keep using here. But each model must end that move no further from the target unit. Okay. This one, we're going to have to read it a few times because there's a bunch of implications about, oh, is it model or unit? How does it change from this one or that one? Not your style, you're out. Hey, good luck. I hope you have a nice day. But if you just want to know this information, you can go to the website and just read it. People tune in for kind of a discussion, you know. if they want. At the end of the move, your unit must still be in combat with all units that it was in combat with at the start of the move. Oh, okay. So pile-in is kind of tactical, right? And with pile-in, there were a lot of little opportunities for skill expression and, ooh, I found a little tactic here, and this is going to be +1, -1, you know, effect EV or something. So because we're smoothing a lot of this over, we're going to lose some of those, but I wonder what we're going to keep. How do you talk to women, but in Age of Sigmar terms? I don't know, dude. I'm a hermit. I don't go outside. I live in a wizard tower. I can give you relationship advice simply because I've lived for a long time and I've noticed a lot of things. But if you're looking for specifics, I don't know. Pick an enemy unit your unit, so it's the whole unit is in combat with, and they are the target. Each model in your unit can move up to 3, the move can pass through, but each model must end no further from the target unit. Okay. So you no longer is it on a per model basis that has to go splitting your unit in half. Because there used to be like a little bit of a Chinese finger trap thing you could do with enemy units that essentially made them, they couldn't ever move. They were like immobile between two stuff, right? And it looks like you just choose a target and then you can do what must be done. That's kind of nice. Each model must end the move no further from the target unit. At the end of the move, your unit must still be in combat with all units that it was in combat with at the start of the move. Okay, so this final sentence here, you can't fully escape the finger trap, but at least you're not like fully stuck, I guess. Why are random guys talking in Russian? I imagine they speak Russian probably as a main language. I certainly don't, so I don't know what they're saying, but I hope it's nice. Not an airport, no need to announce your departure. I mean, they just look, some people don't know that's rude. It's like a psychological thing. You know, some streamers in their I clicked on a new streamer recently, and in their rules they said do not announce that you're leaving. That was their rule. I think it's like a psychological thing. If one person says they're going to leave because they have to go to bed, like everybody watching it, suddenly the real world comes back to them. They're like, ooh, hold up, I need to do this too, and it could cause like a landslide. I don't know. I don't have it in my rules. But it is generally seen as rude to do. Not intentionally, usually. Usually it's just some person who's like, oh, I'm in a place where I like the community, and so I would feel bad if I didn't say goodbye to everybody, but like the knock-on effect of that ends up being bad. It doesn't matter. Yeah, you can leave a toe within 3 of the other thing, which is kind of neat. If your unit is not in combat, each model in your unit can move 3 in any direction. Oh, just anywhere. And it can pass through and end within the combat ranges of enemy units. So this means you charged previously, you get to pile in, but unlike now where you have to pile in towards the nearest enemy, now you can just mill about. You can do whatever you want. Cool. Like 99% of the time, any direction means towards an objective or away from the opponent, but sure. You charged, something is dead, and now you get to like fan out and become a screen or something. This is kind of cool. I kind of like this. Is this hugely different from the way it works right now in a way that I haven't just gone over? Has anybody thought of anything? Means you got to be like 10 times more mindful when charging, because if you screw up and tag a huge hammer unit, you can't escape it anymore. It was slow, but you watch Family Guy in a split screen. Interesting. It was slow, but you muted and turned off the screen and watched Rob the Honest Wargamer, so it's cool. Hey, all right. That's still helping me with viewer numbers, so I appreciate it anyway, even if you're not. MWG Josh, thanks for the tier 1, appreciate it. New subscriber, possibly. I want to say I was on an escalator, and I might have seen you at Adepticon, but you were talking to people, and you looked important, so I didn't want to butt in. Anyway, thanks for liking my stuff, even though it's slow. Take our time over here. Charge thing, kill it with impacts, move in any direction or on the objective. Yeah, I like that. I like that. If you're within like 5 inches of an enemy, then you could fight them. Yeah, you could. You pile in 3 towards them. Now you're within 3 and everybody fights. Kind of sick. Hold on, let me reread this fight section. It seems to me, am I reading this wrong over here? You fight as a unit. So the models in you, if the model in your unit is outside of 3, it can't fight, right? I assume, or it doesn't get attacks. I assume that's how that works. It has to be. I wondered if it really clarified it up there. So sometimes you do still have to measure stuff. Josh, if he looked important, it definitely wasn't me. Oh. Well, hey, alright, same. HeyWoah is like the anti-cocoa melon. Is that a moisturizer? I think I use that. You know, white people can get ashy too. You just can't see it as easy. Especially in the winter. You know, moisturize up. Do you still only pile in if you charged? Yes. So, being granted a pile-in move is contingent upon either being in combat or having charged. Pick a friendly unit that is in combat or that has charged, right? So those are the 2 ways that you get a pile-in move. You don't get a pile-in move if you're just standing somewhere and nothing happens around you, right? Like you have to unlock it somehow. Fighting is the thing that lets you pile in, not charging specifically. Yeah, it's a cascade. So, you may fight if you're in combat or charged, and then hence you can pile in as part of the fight. Is the full domino. Hey, well, I was thinking about wording. Does it mean that you can only finish the pile-in only within the units you started with? Wait, let me read that again. I was thinking about wording. Does it mean you can only finish the pile-in only within the units you've started with? Let's read. You pick an enemy unit. Each model in your unit can move up to 3. They can pass through, but they have to be no further from the target unit. At the end of the move, if your unit... Yeah, so if your unit was in combat with something else, you can't, like, leave combat with one of those units, right? So if you're within 2, you still have to be within 2 at the end of it. It's just you can shift to one side, but still have a little bit over here. Getting into combat with a third thing seems fine as long as one of the things is your target. Your target has to be a unit that you're in combat with, though. Your target cannot be a unit that you're not in combat with. It looks like. Yeah, Cascade from Magic, that's the cool one. Or Discover if you want the new version. The out-of-combat pile-in isn't going to be super common without the ability that lets you do it. Yeah, like, the piling in, but you're not in combat is probably just going to be, like, for stuff with huge impact hits, probably. For the most part. Or if you charge with 2 guys and the first guy kills all of them, the second ones get to pile in. Stuff like that, I bet. Big Cull. Fight, fight, fight. The kill a guy and then activate with the unit that didn't kill the enemy pilot? Yeah, that's what I was thinking. The process of working out combat will be familiar to players, with a few key changes. Unmodified rolls of 6 are now critical hits. Let's go. A term that can trigger a range of new effects on attacks, while mortal wounds have been renamed mortal damage. I am struggling to call it that, but let's go. Overall, rend has been reduced throughout the game, and while you can still positively modify your save profile with all defense, this remains capped at +1. Hopefully we don't have stupid math to do. Most factions lack any other tools to further increase a unit's save, so save stacking, the process of negating rend by adding extra save, is largely a thing of the past. Good. Good. This was, I thought, a problem. By the time it got down to like players complaining, usually it was there's too many mortal wounds in the game, or mortal wounds are too good. I felt that the source of that problem was the fact that rend was not pulling its weight. It was kind of like you did mortal wounds or you didn't do damage. Now that's way oversimplifying, but anyway. Also, yeah, it says most factions. Obviously there will be some. We know that Stormcast can do this. They have best day ever in Stormcast, but that makes sense for Stormcast. They're using golden full plate made by a dwarven god out of the shattered core of a broken planet. Yeah, they can save stack a little bit. Makes perfect sense. Oziarch Bone Reapers, I bet, are going to be able to save stack. Makes perfect sense for them. Fire Slayers, probably. Nurgle, probably. You can think of, I bet, 5 or 6 factions out of the 25 or 26 factions that will probably have some sort of either save stacking rule or some other defensive style rule that ends up being about the same thing. It's just such a huge difference between core rules that everybody has versus the defensive armies get, you know? So maybe the game is getting less killy, as somebody mentioned. Huss Bear, thanks for the tier 1, I appreciate it. Also, thanks for gifting a sub to Cool Whip, to the Whippy Glizzy. Huss Bear was the first, so you gift subbed to somebody and then you subscribe to yourself. Was this a mistake? I don't mean to put you on the spot. Did you mean to subscribe and you accidentally gifted someone a save first? Alright, we're good. Alright. Yeah, I don't want people to like accidentally into giving me money. TY. Hopefully no more always having 1-up saves for the most important fight every round. Yeah, Smugastolfo emoji, I agree. You will when you're fighting Stormcast, but that'll be like a defining characteristic of Stormcast, which I think fine, you know? Gift sub, then subs afterwards. I mean, it sends a message, and I rather think it's charming. It's like some of the, there's like Chad new viewers, and sub or gift a sub before you sub is one of them, and the others are the people who they subscribe, and they're like and it's like thanks for being a 7-month subscriber, and then they type no problem, and no problem is the first time they've ever typed in chat. I'm like, okay, good work. There's a slight change to the way damage is allocated. Oh, here we go. Alright, this could change everything. CG Busted, thanks for gifting a sub. To Amazing Plibbit. Don't play with my emotions like this. She's not in chat. Good fucking meme. Good meme. But she's not in chat.
HeyWoah, big. Dude, a big.
Dude, a bing. Okay, I was gonna switch to this and then just do that meme, but it like kind of broke. All right, we're back. Dude, a bing. Whoa, that's a real cool frog. All right, thanks for the gift sub. Custodes waifu when? Soon, when we get models for it. Who's that? Okay, so do you want the amazing plebit, like, deep lore, or are we going to get through this article? Remind me after the news, okay? The deep lore can wait. Instead of allocating damage points to a model in a unit, damage points are now allocated to the unit as a whole. Okay? When the total of damage points allocated to an unit equals the health characteristic of that unit, the commanding player removes an model from an unit, but they must stay in coherency. Okay. Yeah, this gets rid of, like, a truly minor skill, I guess, tactical thing where it's like, all right, which model am I going to put the damage on? And if you choose one, and then you move later, and you move later, and you charge later, and it turns out, oh shit, that guy happens to be in a thing where if I remove him, now I lose half of my unit to coherency or whatever. Ahem. That was a little bit of a skill testing tactic or something like that, but it was purely a let's see if you fuck up one, and not really one that your opponent could cause, I guess. Choosing one model in a unit to, like, devour whole or slay outright, that's a opponent is doing something cool. But this one is just like a, could you see the future? Were you trying to play quick? This is a good change, I think. It's once again a kind of let's streamline the whole thing sort of system. I like it. Also, subtlety, all right, subtlety built into this. I think people are gonna move faster. They're gonna move their units faster. Because every single time they move a unit, they don't have to consider, okay, this is the guy with the wounds on him, so if he dies, I don't want to, it gets rid of a little bit of the pointlessly thinking ahead kind of bullshit that gets in the way of just push him, there is a point at which the game becomes so streamlined that it's like, all the skill is gone or whatever. I don't think this is anywhere close to that. Yeah, this is a good change. I like it. Rat Mouse strikes again. Dude, I have your stream on your speaker in your dorm room. You can't have a VTuber jump scare? Oh. No VTuber jump scares, huh? Alright, well, anyway. Let me keep reading.
Someone needs a chill pill.
God damn, that's so annoying. Where's the rat press one?
Knitting press, motherfucker!
Alright, this greatly speeds up how damage is toted up. Toted up, huh? And stops you from losing track of which model was injured or absentmindedly allocating the first point of damage to your unit champion and going to curse your past self. Yeah. It's just all around good. Sentence written a bit weird to me. Can someone in chat tell me if this is the same way 40k 10th does it? Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know about that. It also stops you from leaving literally one guy at the end of a chain of chaff wall that's in combat with another squad that has yet to fight. Yeah. So fucking big. I'm sorry, my dude, but you're huge. The amount of little quality of life changes. Big boy Matt. Yeah, this is sick. Unit rolls. They're actually thinking about it. I don't know what this implies, but if this is anything like what job will this unit have? Please. So many units in this game, their job is just walk around and fight. And if everything's job is walk around and fight, then you just do a bit of basic math and you're like, okay, this is the best one, and then the other 4, why'd you even make them, right? With combat range gone, you might have some questions about how a warrior with a hammer is set apart from one with a spear. Yeah, you know I do. I'm looking forward to learning about this. This has been handled by further differentiating the role of each unit on the battlefield.
We're safe on
Ahem, good. Weapon and Warscroll abilities now provide units with specific roles. Take the bristling spear wall of Stormcast Eternal's Vindictors as an example. Let's fucking go. They have anti-charge rend 1 as a weapon ability, granting additional rend when they are charged, while they have the opportunity to strike first if they successfully hold the shield wall. Okay. We didn't see hold the shield. Did we? I can't remember if we did. Anyway, I know the anti-charge thing that we saw before. So this is why this ability matters, is because sometimes you can strike first. Half the time. 50-50 shit. 2 health, 5 move, 3 up save, 1 control. 2 attacks, 3s and 3s, 1-1. Is this a unit of 5? Yes, because down here, standard bearer, 1 out of 5, 1 in 5 per. So 10 attacks, 3s and 3s, 1-1. Anti-charge, run 2. And if it did not charge this turn, and the enemy did on a 4-up, you have strikes first. Okay. Very interesting. Hold the shield wall. I mean, the reason they're striking first is because they have spears, not because they have shields. Shield feels like more of a defensive thing, but I'm quibbling about the name of this rule, and I actually don't care at all, so it's fine. Greater combat range and no battle shock makes seething. Rule that's seething. Hordes of clan rats and crypt ghouls more dangerous, but monstrous infantry like Kroxigor love to cut a bloody swath through these teeming mobs. Their anti-infantry +1 rend devastates Armour, while the brutal blows passive ability can pulverize 4 bodies in a single swing. And they get 4 attacks. Whoa! That's 4 attacks now. Hmm. 6 health, big. Kroxigor kind of big. 4-up save. Kroxigor is important because as I look at the Kroxigor War Scroll, I'm probably given a little bit of a window into what ogres will look like. Because Kroxigor and Troggoths were, in general, pretty close to the ogre template. So it's kind of what I'll be taking this as, even if it's not fully. Drake Bite Maul. 4 attacks, 4s and 2s. Rend 1, damage 2, anti-infantry. And then 1 in every 3 models can replace with a Moonstone Hammer, which is 3s and 2s, 1-3. That's a nice weapon. 3-up, 2-up, 1-3. 2-3 versus infantry. No bites. No Ford F-150 crushing bites, huh? Alright. They were kind of a waste of time to roll before. No stupidity if there isn't like a skink nearby or anything like that. No more skink keyword even. Bertle Bowls. Add one of the damage characteristics of this unit's melee weapons for attacks that target an enemy unit that has 10 or more models. Okay. Who knows how common that will be in the new game, but 3 damage, 4 damage, Ren 2, kind of nice. So you are, it looks like, your unit role is anti-infantry. As long as we have enough reasons to be running big units of infantry, then there will be reasons to run anti-infantry. Although I'm a touch concerned, because if one of these unit roles ends up not being wholly adopted, it can have a cascading effect. Where you're like, well, in the average tournament, 2 out of my 5 rounds I'm going to play with against infantry probably, and the other 3 I won't, so why bother bringing something that sucks unless I play against infantry, right? This is all, a lot of this stuff is going to matter or not matter, or matter a little or more, depending on a whole bunch of factors, but that's the concern. This is also the non-elite Kroxigor, so who knows what the big boys will look like. Can't believe we've seen Lizardman rules before Skaven ones. That's fucked up. Control F all monster truck rolls. Coherency range. Alright, this one's gonna be painful. Anyway, we have a unit roll for anti-charging, which you could say is maybe not really an anvil. Anvil's more about just surviving. This is about punishing, Unit rolls. Anti-charge. Anti-big units of infantry. Or maybe even just anti-infantry, You could imagine speed bump or chaff. Anvil / tar pit. I wonder how many of these unit rolls we'll have, and how tempting taking the unit rolls will be for the majority of armies. Because there's no sideboards in the game, so people gotta build against the field. And maybe that's just gonna be a list building choice. But anyway, it's a really good thing. I just hope they implement it well. The chaff sweeper, the slappa choppa. Coherency range. All that moving, charging, piling in, and general jostling around is also tied into coherency, which represents how units move and fight together. The coherency change of units is now half inch, and models must remain within range of at least one other model in their unit. Okay, so not 2. You can make lines.
Please clap.
Good. That's fine. I think making a line, it's fine. Bad formatting. Oh, okay, so they go over the real rule later. Terrible formatting. Clap is about to be refunded. Oh no. Alright. Models and units of 7 or more fighters must remain within coherency range of at least 2 other... Okay, fuck you. While certain units, especially those composed of large models like Storm Trade Guard, have a larger coherency range noted on the Warscrolls. Coherency is measured horizontally, which means height differences don't matter. True, am I right? Height differences don't matter. True. Where does it talk about that? That was the sentence? I thought we were going to be able to read a rules page. Anyway, okay. I think it's fine to make a line of 10 guys. I don't see what the problem is. With a line of exactly 10 guys, what's the problem? It's fun. I guess they disagree. At least having 6 guys, you get to experience some amount of freedom, I suppose. It's not like ruinous or anything. It's fine. I guess 6 is just as arbitrary as 5 or 7 or whatever. This isn't any worse than it used to be, so fair enough. And the fact that keeping them within a half inch of each other that's shorter than it is now, but you have 3-inch combat range for everything, so it's like, They just want you to mostly put him right next to the other guy and push him around. Retreating. Battleshock has gone because to fight in the Age of Sigmar is to fight for the fate of the mortal realms. Armies engage in battle with utter conviction. Ugh. And battle to the bitter end. But retreat is now an ability used in the movement phase, a tactical decision that comes with a cost of D3 mortal damage. Though some wily units may be able to use special abilities to slip out of combat without reprisal, including certain Skaven. Oh! You retreat out of combat, you take mortal wounds. Mortal damage. Now. The fighters disengage from combat, though, at the cost of lowering their defenses. Yeah, I mean, you're going to take a pot shot, right? You're going to take a pot shot if you run away. That makes sense. Pick a friendly unit that is in combat to use his ability. Inflict D3 mortal damage on that unit. The unit can move a distance up to its move characteristic. The unit can move through the combat ranges of enemy units, but cannot end the move within an enemy units. Okay, so retreat is costly now. You take a dam. You do it in the movement phase. Okay. It's doctor damage now, yeah. Stand and fight, you cravens. Yeah, and if anyone was wondering who they're talking about specifically with ways to run away, it is certainly Skaven. I'm sad about this a little bit, because tactically retreating onto objectives is how I won most of my games in the entirety of 2nd edition Age of Sigmar. But, game's different, we'll see. We'll see how it works out. I think retreating was generally pretty rare. Do you agree? Think about the average player, you know? Like, in general, just people playing on ice rinks, sometimes with terrain, sometimes not. I don't think people retreated a lot. So I'm wondering why you're punished for it with this. I don't think it's a big deal. It's a little bit of neat kind of realism stuff. Oh, you know what? Dread brings up a good point. With a particular season, gave a battle tactic that required you to do it, and so now it's happening all the time. But that's cheating. That's cheating. That's a temporary rule they invented to get people to do something, right? You were poised to use power through the most? Yeah. Can't wait. I move forward away through you. On Friday, we'll be unrolling arcane scrolls, brushing off our dogma, and pondering orbs. Oof. Both thaumaturgically and theological, as we unpack how magic prayers and manifestations work in the new edition. Damn, that sucks. Dude, we gotta wait until Friday to talk about the next... Top story tonight. Welcome back. We just got a double turn of news. Cast supreme sorceries. Enchant powerful prayers in new AOS. Gods and their aspects stride the battlefields in Warhammer Age of Sigmar, fighting alongside the very mortals who worship them. Which I think is cool. And a noticeable population don't think is cool. I'm not saying they're wrong. We just have a different opinion. No meme. While sorcerers tap into the thaumaturgical energy that permeates every realm to conjure magical manifestations that can run wild on the battlefield. Bro, We're digging deep into the thesaurus on this one. Are you a thesauromancer? No, I practice dictionmancy. Of course, we have Lord Croak here. Tell me what the scouter says real quick. This guy in the lore or on the table? Kind of similar, but crazy pop. It's alive. It's back. Let's go. Dude, it's back. CG Busta, thanks for the tier 1 sub to Sieve the Thief. Actually sniped him. Got him. This isn't Lord Croak. He's in a orrery. Ahem. Technically. This is a basic Forg. But the robot is back for the funny chat memes. And so I'm going to replay the ones that we missed. SG Arcade paid $69 for this. Nope, didn't work. Holy sh... Okay, so it's still broken on the back end. But that one just worked. Oh. Hey, SG Arcade, thanks for the money. Get fucked. Eat shit. For life. Also sorry. Anyway, Warbear. I guess, thanks for the 69. Lord Croak's body count. Plus 40k characters to shame. Along with the changes to commands and combat, the way that spells and prayers work in Age of Sigmar has undergone some significant tinkering, leading to more flexibility and opportunities for counterplay, casting, and unbinding. Alright, this is going to be big. You're going to HR. HR answers the phone. It's me. Your call is important to us. No, hold on. Let me do that. I swear I can record that without laughing. Your call is... Fuck. Imagine how many takes it had to take them to record your call is important to us without laughing. From gibbering weird knob shamans caught in the violent grasps of the Wa to the luminous Archmage Texas. Mortals and gods alike can call on the very stuff of the realms. Oh, the stuff. To cast powerful spells. Alright, let's hear about them. Each spellcaster in the game is identified by the keyword wizard, which is followed by their power level. Dude, this is... I like this. It's stupid, but give me a power level, right? Just to compare. I think calling it power level is fun. A number in brackets determines the numbers of spells, unbinds, and banish abilities that they can use per phase. Okay. And you have to divvy it up between all these, I would imagine. So here with the keyword wizard too. Could cast a spell and banish one endless spell. Okay, yeah, you divvy them up between all these. Cool. Good. Nice. Ahem. Weird Nod Shaman. 6 health, 4 moves, 6 save. Oof. 2 control though. Heroes have 2 control, confirmed. Well, some do. Ranged weapon, here he is. Here's the boy, the mad lad himself. Hero Wizard 1. Bum 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 wow. Infantry. Alright, power level 1. His ranged weapon is Green Pewik. Ugh. Range 10, 4 attacks, 2s and 4s, nil D3. Ability. Vomit in combat. Wa staff. 3 attacks, 4s and 3s, 1d3. Hey, we kept the wizard bonks. The famed wizard bonks that are 4s and 3s, rend 1, but do a d3. Alright. Brutal power. A Weird Knob Shaman channels the wild energy emitted by nearby orc mobs. Effect. Add 1 to this unit's power level. Well, there are any friendly Ironjaw units that have 10 or more models wholly within 12 of it. So 0 ever. Got it. But hey, maybe in the future there will be units of 10 for some reason in this army. It's, yeah, he used to have rules akin to this in the past, and certain spells got powered up in the past as well. The Great Green something or other. He's got Spirit Bomb energy. I think it's cool. Ard Boys are 10 mans, yeah. Hopefully they will be put on the table. Hold on. Under keywords, destruction, Iron Jaws, no War Clans keyword.
We're safe on Mars.
Now, okay, I don't want you to get your little hopes up, but this is an indication. It's a clue. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're getting two different books and they're entirely separate and unique and respectable or anything, but it could be. If so. Ooh. Oh. Sorry, it doesn't usually happen like that. This is some hopium. That down here was more exciting to me than any of the rules that were just previewed on the entire War Scroll here. Cruel Boy's dedicated book? Now, it could just be that there's no Big Wah, right? There's no Soup faction, and all three of them just appear in one big book anyway. But, you know, a man can dream, right? Spell lores have changed in the new edition. Yeah, at the moment it's going to be indexes anyway, true. Spell lores have changed in the new edition and are selected as part of constructing your army. Pick a single spell lore and every sorcerer in your army can attempt to cast any of the spells from that lore. Okay. Okay, so you're not choosing... You have to pick a spell lore. You have to pick a single spell lore. And then all the wizards happen to know it. So you're not... I wonder, are you assigning spells to people? This means you no longer need to keep track of which specific weird mod... Yes. Ooh.
Please clap.
Big. Huge. Yeah, keeping... Who knows this specific one spell? Is it this one or that one? Yeah, you're choosing the lore, not the spell. Big. Yo, this is kind of nice. Nagash seething in the distance, yeah. Antorius Rex, all three. Oh.
Why are we still here?
I'm sorry.
Just to suffer?
I meant 2 orc armies. As of a year from now. 1,000 pardons. Anyway, good change, cool change. This is sick. Lore the Weird, Mighty Edbutt. Shaman Edbutts the air, projecting a wave of green energy that seeks out enemies to nut. Excuse me? Is this a Britbonger term that I am too America to understand? That's gotta be like the name for hitting someone over the head in like Britannia, right? I am seeking out enemies to nut. In the mortal realms, your spells nut. All right, anyway, fucking funny meme. Nut 'em upside the noggin. Be a nutters. Big nut. Wizards are particularly vulnerable to this brutal front of WoW magic. Dude, I know. Mighty head nut. 6 casting cost up here. Or not casting cost, target number. in the mind that they know the cultural dialect differences, they put it in anyway just to be cheeky? I bet they did. With the amount the people on their live streams say loads, I bet they did it on purpose. Hey, alright. Pick a friendly Ironjaw's wizard to cast a spell. Pick a visible enemy unit within 18. 18's Dece. Dece range. Then make a casting roll 2d6. Inflict D3 mortal wounds. Oh, fuck. Mortal damage on the target. If the target is a wizard, inflict 3 instead. This spell sucks. This shit sucks. D3 mortal damage? Who gives a shit? All wizards take 3, whatever. Maybe this is a good spell in the future. Maybe spells are just way worse. Yeah, it's Arcane Bolt. I sleep. I hope spells aren't this lame. I mean, funny nut Cheerios over here in the descriptor text, but what a boring ass, weak ass spell. Yeah, I hope they're better than this. Maybe in new Age of Sigmar, D3 mortal damage is like, whoa, but it sure has never been in the past. Book sells Maldi. At least they're not asking you to pick it. You got, yeah, I mean, their changes up here are very nice. Very good. Age of Nutmar. No more than one friendly wizard can cast the same spell each turn. We're keeping that. Unless that spell has the new unlimited power. And even unlimited spells can't be repeatedly cast by the same wizard. Okay. Damn, dude. Sounds like a limit to me. Fucking got him. Am I right? Sounds like a limit to me. Casting rolls are still 2d6, and if a casting roll includes a double 1, the spell is miscast. Boo. Boo, I say. The caster takes D3 mortal damage and can cast no more spells in that phase. Boo. Don't like it. You've changed so much to streamline the game, and you keep this random ass fucking rule that hardly ever matters in, but then when it does, it sucks anyway. I don't care that much. Yeah, I need Lionel Hutz to come in here and put a comma in between it and a little like line next to the N. Actually, that's comma limited, as in it is limited. Reaction. Opponent declared a spell ability, and they've already rolled to unbind. Here we go. We got reactions. No, comma, money down! Exclamation point. Wizard saps the energy from an enemy's spell, nullifying its effects. Used by a friendly wizard within 30 inches of the enemy wizard casting the spell. No visibility required here. Effect. Make an unbinding roll of 2d6. If the roll exceeds the casting roll for the spell, then the spell is unbound. Its effect is not resolved. This reaction cannot be used more than once per casting roll. Yeah, well, figures. Okay. That makes sense. You got good timing with it. We're using magic. In response. Mana Drain. Oh, in response to Mana Drain, I'm gonna Fierce Guardianship. Okay, in response to Fierce Guardianship, I'm gonna exile a blue card. We're going to misdirect that Fierce Guardianship onto misdirection. Okay, in response, we're gonna Flusterstorm that. Although actually none of that, because you can't use it more than once per casting roll. So there won't be unbinding unbinds. We're not full magic here. Overload, counterflux. Mindbreak Trap. I'm not technically countering them. I'm exiling, so I'm gonna choose all those. Ahem. Cool. Counterflux, people play that? No, but if anybody would, a commander player might, you know? Unbinding is an important part of spellcasting counterplay. True, and the magical intervention, letting canny casters crack off spells in their opponent's hero phase, the unbind reaction ability, is vital. True. So, hold on. Let's think about this from playing the game standpoint. You have a triple caster wizard. It's your turn. Your opponent has some wizards too. Active player finishes all their stuff, then non-active player does their abilities. You cast 2 spells, so you have 1 more spell left to cast yet. But, because it's your turn. But all the casting unbinding, that's shared. So now you have to make a decision whether you want to cast your 3rd spell or say that you're done so that you still have 1 spell action to unbind in case your opponent casts the spell on your turn. And so if you say you're done, leaving up 1 spell action because you want to maybe unbind something they cast, they could just not, and you've wasted a spell use. Or they could do it, and then now you have an unbinding opportunity. Looks like there's a little bit of gamesmanship here. Call the bluff, a little metagame, a little skill expression, a little play literacy, a little possibility space. Oh, chill, all right. Too many fake mechanics words. Anyway, kind of interesting. We're kind of gaming now. I wonder if spells in general will no longer last until your next hero phase, because now you have the opportunity of casting spells on the opponent's turn. I wonder if the default spell, like a buff or a debuff, no longer lasts until your next hero phase. You know? I bet they still probably do, because spells lasting until the beginning of your next hero phase was one of the things that made double turns not quite as good, you know? You could fully turtle up, and you have all your defenses rolling, so if they got a double, you're still like, okay, at least I have my 3 buff spells up still for the things. They'll probably keep that just because of that, I bet. HeyWoah, no fun. You believe you have a power level number of spells per phase? Yes, correct. But your power level is a shared pool that you may use on spells, unbinds, and banishes, right? So if you're a wizard too, you can cast 2 spells, but then you can't unbind. So if you cast your 2 spells, and then your opponent spends a command point and casts a spell on your turn, you can't unbind it. You see what I'm getting at with my previous example? And so sometimes maybe you're like, okay, I'm going to cast 1 spell and leave it up, because my opponent might cast, and if he does, it ruins me, and so I need to, like, wait to unbind it. But you're the active player, so if you say you're done, then you're done, and your opponent can call the bluff and be like, oh, then I won't. You just wasted a spell. Eat shit, you know? Anyway, I wonder how that's going to work out. A little gamesmanship. Your PowerPoints reset every battle round? I thought it was a phase. Yeah, per phase. Your power level is the number of spells, unbinds, and or banishes that you can use per phase. So it's per phase. I'm talking about if they use the 1 command ability that allows you to cast a spell on your opponent's turn. Like the fact that they could do that, now there's some mind games with it. Is there a cheap enough wizard to sit there just as a no fun allowed unbinding machine? Only as that? Probably not. But I bet there's units that are halfway decent, plus also you can be an unbinder, or, you know. People have been taking 100-point wizards because it's just good to have a 100-point wizard or 2 for the entire history of the game, and I'm sure that'll continue. If your spells are all just do D3 damage, everyone will be waiting around to unbind. It depends. I'm a lot less concerned about D3 mortal wounds. Fuck. God damn it. D3 mortal damage. It's not mortal wounds anymore. Anyway, if you have a spell that does D3 mortal damage, I guess I don't care. It's the spells that are like teleport across the table, or Hand of Dust, or something like that. Or a spell that gives an opponent a 5-up ward for until their next hero phase. Like, eesh. Alright, we gotta unbind those. With enough wizards and only a select pool of spells you may want to cast, you have a feeling you'll easily be able to save room for emergency unbinds? Perhaps. Is this Katawa Shoujo music? First of all, excellent taste, sir. But what's that? I've never heard of it. But yeah, it's like a 1-hour loop with a school song. You definitely want to see your opinions on how player chanting, roll, and ritual points work? We're getting to it. Hey, we'll get a buzzer sound for when you say wound. What do I do?
The windup in his first offering. Just a bit outside. He tried the corner and missed.
Just a bit outside. Unbinding is an important part of spellcasting counterplay. Yeah. As an exception to the usual restrictions on abilities, a wizard can attempt to use the unbind reaction multiple times per phase based on their power level, but only once per casting roll. Yeah. Damn, this has got to be the worst new corn model I've seen in a while. I forgot about this one. The gods have cast their divine light on the prayers in the new edition, which are now more powerful than ever and very different from spells in some key ways. As with your spellcasters and sorcerers, your priests are marked out by a keyword with an associated power level and may use a combination of prayer and banish abilities each phase up to that number. So we have power level 2, alright. Priest, power level 1. Slaughter Priest, I don't know, man. I think the Slaughter Priest is he feels better than a power level 1. He's fucking huge. Also, they chose the inferior of the two models to show here. In my humble opinion. I don't know about any. Like, he looks cool, don't get me wrong. He looks cool. It's just the other one looks cooler. That's all. 5 up save, 5 moves, 6 health, 2 control. 4 attacks, 3s and 3s, 1, 2, because everybody, even your priests in Khorne, can fight. Actually, your priests in Khorne are particularly good at fighting, as a matter of fact. Oh, we don't see the actual chanting rules? Oh. I was hoping we would see them. Once per turn, army-wide, your hero phase. Passive. This unit can use unbind abilities as if it had Wizard 1. Cool. Alright. I imagine a lot of people get Scorn of Sorcery in Khorne. Sure. Hydroside, thanks for the first time chat. Hey man, I found you from the YouTubes. Like your silly video about the different armies. You're wondering, as somebody looking to join AOS, what armies you'd suggest from a Custodes 40k player. Somebody asked about this a long time ago. What was our answer for the Custode enjoyers? Was it OBR, I think? If we're just talking playstyle. Really elite Stormcast, Oziark Bone Reapers, possibly, I mean, maybe a Chosen-centric Slaves to Darkness army, but as a third place to those first two, yeah. If you're just talking playstyle, I think, yeah, Oziark Bone Reapers, maybe Stormcast. Those are the top two for me, I think. The other stuff is just like random elite people, which it's more than just being elite. And like Mega Gargants is different. That's like Sons of Behemoth is more like a knight's army. A melee knight's army, I guess. You could say. Ogres? I don't quite think ogres. I mean, it's another elite army, sure. Yeah, that being said, that is true. 4th edition is like 2 months away. So if you're thinking about buying something, chill. In 2 months, it's a new edition and they're rewriting every war scroll in the game. Like, everything's changing. So I always advise to first of all try before you buy, especially on like TTS or something. And then second of all, if you're right on the cusp of a whole bunch changing, don't just buy stuff, because who knows what's going to happen, right? Fourth edition, oops, all Croxigores. Yeah, we'll just have to see. Anyway, let's finally get to this Khorne War Scroll. Don't worry about it. Once per turn army, your hero phase. Blood Sacrifice. Pick a friendly unit with this unit within this unit's combat range to be the target. D3 on a 2-up. So that's kind of like rolling a D6. Inflict an amount of mortal damage on the target equal to the roll. Oh, cool. We're doing another one of these. I like this stuff. This is cool. Instead of rolling 2 dice, instead of rolling a die to roll a die, it's just roll once, it does that much, or it fails. Easy, right? And then you gain a blood tithe point. Yeah, this is not a prayer. We don't see an answer value up here, which is, I imagine, how prayers will work. It's just the thing to do. Hey, remember back in the olden days where a blood sacrifice was a prayer and you could chant the same prayer more than once? And so you'd do it like 4 or 5 times every turn on a unit that had 2 or 3 stacked wards, so it wouldn't take any damage anyway. Oh, dude. Khorne Pops was a fun combo deck. Anyway, you are a priest 1. What keywords did we keep? Chaos, Blades of Khorne, Bloodbound, and Gore Chosen. Gore Chosen, I think, hero type kind of thing. Alright, sick. Nothing else, though. No crits. No crit abilities. Bloodbound is Mortal Khorne, and Gore Chosen are the Bloodbound heroes. Okay, that's what I kind of thought. This is why you're surprised they're revealing so much already. We have a ton of rules, and the new edition is still months away. I mean, supposedly they really went kind of ground up and redid everything, so we're going to have plenty of stuff to see. I would imagine that 1 entire week or 2 maybe will be dedicated to Skaven. So there's maybe a quarter, maybe a half a month of Skaven stuff leading up to it probably. They could start showing indexes. They could start showing, oh, here's this army's rule, here's that. How does every army change in the new edition? We'll go over the battle traits, 2 of them. And they could do that for every army, and that's like, you could have so many articles off of that. I think we'll have a pretty good preview season, I would hope. Ilbeard says the OBR plays closest to melee-centric Custodes, although the cavalry aren't as good as the bikes. Yeah, I would say that. Custode Enjoyer is whatever will make them complain every time a single model is killed. Hey, when you don't have a lot... I mean, I play Beastclaw Raiders. I got like 7 models on the table. When you kill one, it sucks. Like spellcasters, you pick one specific prayer lore when building your army, but there the similarities end. Oh, really? Instead of making a single dramatic casting roll, these combative clergy beseech their deities, who may even be on the battlefield with them at the same time. through chanting. Every prayer will ask you to roll a d6 chanting roll, and on a roll of 2 up, your priest gains that many ritual points, which accumulate over multiple turns. Oh. Okay, this is very flavorful and bad. Well, no, it's not bad. I mean, it is. Because in a vacuum, you want an ability to be able to immediately work. The sooner the better. If you have to wait, the longer you have to wait, the more chance your priest gets randomly killed and it was all for nothing, right? But that's just in a vacuum. It's a little bit of bookkeeping for everybody with ritual points. But it is very thematic, you know, you're chanting this prayer, you're accumulating stuff. You wanted to differentiate it from magic somehow, because it was too close to magic. It was just magic it couldn't unbind, basically. After it got, I mean, it was pretty different in 2nd edition, but they changed all the ways that it was different. And then gave some of them back. Yeah, priest spirit bombs. Each prayer has a chanting value that you'll need to match before it will be answered. It may include a higher value that can power up. Oh, altered beast? For example, a slaughter priest can choose to unleash the Bane curse to weaken an enemy wizard once they've gathered 4 ritual points, or hold out for a chanting value of 8 to also deal 3 mortal damage to the target. Okay. Yeah, power up. So this is like thematically extremely cool. I wonder how it'll end up playing out. Usually things you have to wait for are not valued particularly highly in the game because you could just kill the thing in the interim and then nothing has happened, but simply kill the guy, but you can't, is very common as well, right? I'm gonna have to hold off on this until we get to, like, play. But I will grant that it is a very nice, it's a comforting thematic difference between prayer and spell. And there did need to be more of a difference between prayer and spell, I think. Wait a whole extra turn for D3 mortal damage. Yeah, that's... I mean, it's 3, not D3, but... Look. For as long as Age of Sigmar has been around, whoever the fuck is writing Games Workshop rules seems to think that D3 mortal wounds was a big fucking deal, and it just never has been. It simply has never been a big deal. But the way they wrote rules in 1st edition and 2nd edition and even 3rd edition, it's like, they think that that's a big deal. I don't know if they think we think it is, but we don't. Now, maybe in 4th edition, D3 mortal damage is suddenly a big deal because things have changed. So maybe that's true. Maybe that's the case. Anyway, let me read on. Blood Blessing of Khorne. 4. Here we have a big old square. It doesn't have the little runes around it, so you know it's not magic. It's very different. Okay. A blood hex is placed upon a craven wizard of the enemy, sapping their willpower. Pick a friendly Blades of Khorne priest to chant this prayer. Pick a visible enemy wizard within 18, and then make a chanting roll. Effect. Subtract 1 from the target's power level to a minimum of 0 until the end of your next turn. In addition, if the chanting roll was 8+, inflict 3 mortal damage on the target. Okay. So this is like pre-unbinding auto kind of works. You need a 4 up though. And then you also have unbinds as well. Damn, I don't know, man. This just seems like... Building up your rituals comes with a risk, and the gods of the Age of Sigmar can be extremely petty, so a chanting roll of 1 will lose your priest D3 ritual points. Bro, it already came with a risk. The risk is your shit dies in between building up the points and using them. So it's already a risk. What do you mean? Yeesh. Ugh. Note that prayers can't be unbound, so astute commanders will have to target enemy prophets while they're busy amassing ritual points for swift execution. Yeah, just kill them, lol. So what I read in this thing clashes with what I read in this thing a little bit. This shit is talking about, like, okay, every prayer will ask you to roll a d6 chanting roll. And on a roll of 2 up, your priest gains that many ritual points, which accumulate. Every prayer has a chanting value that you'll need to match before it will be answered. And many include a higher value that can power up, for example, blah. Okay, so what are we exactly doing here on the table? I declare I'm going to curse this wizard with an 18. As part of my declare, I make a chanting roll of d6. I rolled a 3. Because I rolled a 3, that's higher than a 2. So I have now 3 ritual points. And these apparently accumulate over multiple turns. Each prayer has a chanting value, which is 4. So I have failed this prayer, but I've still accumulated 3 ritual points, which accumulate over multiple turns. And many include a higher value that can power up to the resulting miracle even further. Okay. So we can choose to unleash this. Interesting word, unleash. Effect. Subtract 1 from the target's power level to a minimum of 0 until the end of your next turn. In addition, the chanting roll was 8 up. Inflict 3 mortal damage to the target. So I just keep 3 ritual points, right? I'm just tracking those. I try to Witchbane Curse, I fail, but I still have 3, and so I just keep them. How does that work with declare an effect, though? You know? My question is... So that makes sense. And then next turn I Witchbane Curse again, and I roll a 6, right? So now I have 9 ritual power, which is higher than 4, and it's higher than 8 up. And so I do 3 mortal damage on the target. Now I have a few questions about this. The chanting roll was 8 up, but is it spent? You know? Is this the cost? Let's see. Once they've gathered 4 or more ritual points, or hold out for a chanting value of 8. Okay. You would think these are spent, but maybe not. They're probably spent. Does it spend all of them each time, or just how many use it? Because this isn't... If the chanting roll is 8 up, inflict 3 mortal damage on the target. Does it cost 8 now? Or does it still cost 4, it just cares about the roll? Now here's another question. Let's say I have 2 ritual points. In this turn, I chant for this, and I roll a 2, which means I have 4, which is enough. Do I have to produce the effect now? Because it doesn't say you can. It probably does in the prayer section of the core rules. What if you want to wait out for the 8 up? It says you can up here, but it says a lot of things up there. Surely it spends them, but if it spends them, then these are just the worst spells you've ever seen in your whole life, right? Imagine your wizard does nothing for an entire battle round, right? Like, you pray, nothing happens, you pray, nothing happens, you pray, nothing happens, and then you subtract 1 from target's power level and deal 3 mortal damage. That's the worst spell you could possibly imagine, right? That could be 3 other spells. But instead it was nothing, nothing, and then this shit. Right? So damn, I don't know. I mean, having your priests do literal nothing and then having an effect be this awful after a year, after they're like chanting and nothing happens, chanting, nothing happens, and then it almost seems like you don't have to spend your points, because if you did, it would be so terrible, right? I mean, it seems to imply up here that you can hold out for a chanting value of 8 up. So somewhere in here there must be an option not to produce the effect. I can only assume because of this text up here. Maybe your ritual power is just, it's kind of like the Wa energy in orcs. It's just this aura of godly power, like a, like the Daughters of Cain table that gives you more bonuses the longer it goes on. You just have this whirlwind of divine might on your side of the table. And eventually it's 8, 16, 24. But no, then you just auto-succeeded all your mid-game prayers. And that doesn't make any sense either. They have to cost points. Surely you spend these things. Otherwise you auto-succeeded all prayers for the second half of the game, and they're all powered up. Maybe that's worth it, because you did nothing early on. You did nothing early on by just, like, charging your laser, essentially. Yeah, until the end of your next turn is, I think, maybe longer than any effect we've seen, Phantom 39. I mean, there's a few, like, for the whole game effects. But, yeah. That is a long time. You think ritual points stack up per priest, not per prayer? Ooh, okay. Let's read. Your priest gains that many ritual points. It doesn't say your army does. It doesn't say you do. It says that particular priest gains that many ritual points. That's a good note up here. It doesn't say your priest grants you that many or accumulates. It's all right. In theory, you can choose to stock the chanting roll instead of casting. If you do, you must add all save points to the next cast. I think that's how it works too. But the problem with that is, that's horrible. Like, that's so fucking bad. Right? Think about let's choose a hero. This hero has an ability, and that ability just does something. That's good. Now, here's a hero that has an ability, doesn't cost anything. Just like roll a die on a 3-up, do something good. That's good, probably. And here's a hero. You can spend a command point to do something really good. That's good. Maybe the cost is too high for you, but it's potentially good. Now here's a wizard. Turn 1, I cast a spell. It works. Okay. Turn 2, I cast a spell. It works. Okay. Now your opponent can stop you from doing it, but in general, you can cast a spell, it works. Now here's a priest. I pray. Okay, I've accumulated some points and nothing happens. Next turn. I pray. I've accumulated some points and I got higher than 4 now, so the effect happens. Is the effect worth 2 entire turns of casting? Fuck no. So that's my concern here. I don't know how this whole system is working. Obviously, we're missing some information. But as I read this, storing points to do... I don't know. I guess just roll hot, though. Because, well, alright, think about it this way. In a new light, it's not, skip your turn so next turn you do double damage. It's not that, right? It's, if you fail your roll, you still get something. What do you get as a wizard if you fail your roll? Nothing. What do you get as a priest if you fail your roll? You go, kid, you know? So maybe think about it like that. Don't think about it, your entire turn in Dungeons & Dragons is just chanting and nothing happens. And the next combat round, you're still chanting and it's a full round action, and then you cast a spell. And it's like no better than a normal fireball that took one action. So why, you know, maybe that's the wrong way to think about it. The right way is just roll high and it works like magic. And if it doesn't work, you at least get some points out of the deal. Whereas the wizard got nothing, right? Oh yeah, 1,000% chance that Skaven has a 13 prayer. No question. Prayers can't be negated by the opponent. This seems to be true. Prayers can't be unbound, it says right here. Also, if you roll a 1, you lose D3 ritual points. God damn. Imagine. You pray, you store the points. Next turn you roll a 1, you lose the points. You've done nothing for 2 battle rounds. Oh no. Anyway, I just need more information. That's it. I can see how I think it probably works. And I mostly agree with Frank on this. You can probably choose not to do the effect. It is per priest, which is a lot of, it's annoying little bookkeeping to put next to all your little priests. You can charge them up, and there's like a way to think about them so that they seem terrible, and there's a way to think about them so that they seem okay. Anyway, hey, all right. What factions do you run nowadays? Beast Claw Raiders. 7 years. Driving monster trucks around, making charge rolls, trampling, charging people. It's still fun. I still just play Beast Claw Ogres. Having a blast. Can't wait to see their rules in 4th edition. Between failed casts and successfully unbinds, you've had single wizards do nothing for 2 battle rounds many times. Yeah, exception. So that's like the other half of the coin. You could think about it in the bad way, which is I'm wasting all these turns to get a big effect, and the big effect isn't very good, so this sucks. Or you could think about it, well, if you're going to fail rolls, as a priest you get something. But if you're going to fail rolls as a wizard, you get literally nothing, right? So, you know, depending on how you think about it, you could maybe like it or maybe not like it. And yeah, the other thing is that you need a target to use it. So the buff ones are just like actual spirit bombs. Much like spell points with Tzeentch back in the day. Yeah, astute commanders will have to target enemy prophets while they're busy amassing ritual points for swift execution. I don't know, man. Yeah, keep nerfing all my sniping. You keep telling me to kill commanders, but then you keep changing the rules so that I can't target them. Well, which is it? Anyway. Red King TV redeemed a mean advertisement. You know what? I'll do it. Please enjoy a word from our sponsors.
Introducing the best news for ice cream lovers since ice cream began. New simple pleasures. It's everything you love about ice cream, but no point. New Simple Pleasures is unbelievably rich, incredibly creamy, and absolutely top. Oh yeah. Because New Simple Pleasures is made with all natural pure athlete, yeah. Instead of point. New delicious all natural Simple Pleasures. There's never been an ice cream like it.
Switch hats? Sure, I'll do that during the next commercial. How about cream of wine?
What can you do with cream you can't do with any other wine?
Know why I refrigerate? Because my friends love to
Cream.
This setting should indicate that we know how to...
Cream.
Hello, darling.
C'era Lambrusco Bianco and Rosato have such a bright
Cream.
taste. Every sip said
Cream.
Their wine list is first rate.
All it says is,
You know that I'm the cream. What a cream to taste.
Alright, welcome back. I need some more stream-safe music. I gotta remind myself to do that. And another walk. Things to do in between day job. Yeah, nice snake. Thing's actually kind of good. I remember when this came out, and we're like, this shit sucks. Oh wait, it can devour a foot hero and block lanes. Never mind, it's actually kind of good. Strong hat choice, Altered Beast. Let's go. Endless spells and invocations are still in the mix, but instead of spending points to add endless spells when constructing an army,
Please clap.
that was the problem with them, yes. That was the mistake in designing them, was having them cost points when constructing an army. That was your design mistake with them. That never really made them take off for the most part. You can pick a manifestation lore. Oh, fun. Okay. Alright. This grants access to a selection of endless spells and invocations that you'll be able to summon in battle. Big. For free? For free? Some factions will have their own manifestations, while the current endless spells from Malign Sorcery and Forbidden Power are divided into thematic lores. Yeah. You'll find the infamous and ghastly Purple Sun, which was good for a while, and now it sucks, in the Morbid Conjuration Manifestation lore. Morbid Conjuration. Good name. For instance, alongside Suffocating Gravetide, Malevolent Maelstrom, and Soul Snare Shackles. Not free, you lose your magic school, do you? I think you could infer that, but I'm not sure if it's a certainty. I don't know if that's true. I kind of hope it's not. I guess it has to cost you something to have access to endless spells, right? In some way. I mean, you probably just choose it over your spell lore, right? You would, I guess, or maybe you get it somehow, or you can acquire it instead of an artifact choice. I don't know. Surely there has to be some sort of opportunity cost for it. Kind of hope it's not too steep. So they're siloing off endless spells into mutually exclusive buckets to balance the combos, which you think is a neat move. It means that if you have a shit lore for your army, you're not, like, screwed potentially, I suppose. I wonder how you can get more. Can we get more spell lores? If we can get more spell lores somehow through a choice somewhere, particularly for the magical armies, I bet, you know, you could imagine you are Tzeentch, battle traits. You may pick up to 3 spell lores for this army, or whatever the fuck, right? Like, pretty easy to write into for the more magical armies. You always wondered what's the general consensus on creating your own endless spell models? Very common and cool. I see custom endless spell models all the time at Age of Sigmar tournaments, at least in the Midwest. We like hobby in our part of the woods. So, yeah. Generally encouraged and celebrated when they do. As long as it's on the same base size, that's it. in general, like the proxy, it's not even proxy really. I consider it to be customizing your army. It's a little cringe when it's clearly just, I didn't want to buy this, so I'm spending literal 0 effort, and I glued a number 2 pencil to a base. This is a purple sun. Like, you know, I mean, come on. But nobody, I don't think people are really talking about stuff like that. Some factions of their own manifestations, while the current, yeah, I already read that. Wizards and priests both can attempt to use banish manifestation ability to expunge these autonomous arcane forms. Autonomous. There are ways to interact with these conjurations, which we'll cover in more detail next week. All right. Hey, keep my news segments big. Banish manifestation in your hero phase. Pick a friendly wizard or priest. Use this ability. Pick a manifestation within 30 of them to be the target, and then make a banishment roll of 2d6. If the banishment roll equals or exceeds the banishment value, it is banished. You cannot pick the same manifestation as target this ability more than once. Okay, cool. Big change. Actually, everybody gets to get rid of endless spells. But getting rid of the priest ones was kind of tricky. Looks like at long last, it's just like they're the same. At least for how you deal with them. Begone. Yeah, begone Thatium. They're using the element. Wait, my wizard can send Hexgorger skulls away? Frank, no. Yeah, Korn is mad about that one. In general, I think this is good, but specifically Hexgorger skulls, maybe, in the anti-magic army. Can you just fuck them, you know? I don't know. We'll see. We'll be revealing another new mini tour on Monday and learning more about battle plans. This one is going to be huge. This is, like, the battle plan one is going to be the boring show that no one cares about, but is secretly going to affect the game maybe the most. And the General's Handbook, same. And the battle tactics of the new edition. Yeah, these 3 things. Battle plans, General's Handbook, and battle tactics will be so important to how the game functions. And it's like the least exciting thing to read about and hear about. I don't care. I mean, I do care because these are the things that you're going to be yoked with during the upcoming edition, but it's not like the exciting thing, you know. If you try to banish Hexgorgers and you roll an 8, the wizard just dies. True. Give me Kool-Aid Man, monsters through the walls. Yes. Let monsters trample over terrain, please. It seems like I am getting some cool stuff. Now, I know I'm saying that in the wizard and priest section of the book, and we don't really do either of those things in Beast Claw, but we're meant to do the priest ones. So, Hopium is on the rise. Big. The bean counting is always the most important and boringest thing in war, so it's true in life. Yeah, I mean, true to life, true to form. Use them, they'll show us the new Stormcast on the Demigryph, since they seem to be specifically avoiding showing any Skaven besides the Clan Rat. Yeah, to me, I think their plan is to do like a Skaven week, or a Skaven 2 weeks leading up to it. Allow endless spells the right to vote. 1 man, 1 endless vote. Okay. Refresh my memory. We have learned exactly 0 bad news, rules-wise, so far. Supreme sorceries and enchant stuff. I'm not 100% on how the prayers are exactly going to work, and if it's going to be worth it. They showed us a prayer that did not look particularly exciting, but maybe it is. Aside from like a lack of info, this is once again another week where we basically received, for all intents and purposes, no bad news and only good news that I'm kind of excited for, you know? Stay winning, I guess. -1 to cast and then a free unbind. Yeah, so the part that I think is annoying is I don't know how the charging up to 8 thing is going to work. 3 mortal wounds for slurping all of your ritual power out. I'm not sure about that. But in the anti-magic army, imagine your opponent has a wizard 1 and you just pray and point at him. That's essentially, okay, it's not automatic because you're rolling to pray. That's an auto unbind in the future though if it works. It's not only an auto unbind, but you know, they lose their ability to banish. So your Hexgorger skulls are safe because they don't have the wizard power even to try to do that. I don't know. The effect is super nice. It's just the extra effect thing. I'm just like, yeah. Presumably keep Blood Tithe and have a free unbind, maybe. Maybe. I hope so. If anybody should keep their army points thing, it's obviously Blood Tithe. And I like a lot of what Blood Tithe is doing. And they finally got it into a place where you don't flush the toilet completely every time you spend something from them, but anyway, Jimmy 2K21, thanks for the follow. I appreciate it. Big agree you're concerned about auxiliaries still and people just spamming 1 broken war scroll. Yep. Yeah, all the things that I'm like concerned about are things we don't have any or much information about yet. And most of the abilities that I started reading and I became maybe concerned, I kept reading and it was fine. Same with the charge roll thing from last week. I'm like, oh man, are we going to have to call our shot for the reroll before we roll? That would suck unless they just make it part of the declare. And then this week, it's part of the declare. Oh. Yeah, alright. Good work. You think you're going to have to flush ritual points? I think so too, otherwise you would just auto-pray. You'd spend 1 battle round accumulating ritual points. And then battle round 2, 3, 4, and 5, you just auto-succeed all of them. They have to cost, right? I don't know if they fully flush out or not, but they definitely have to be spent, right? The Chaos Dunk, the most powerful move in the game. Fucking reach out to the hoop. I gotta put some Quad City DJs in the opening. I gotta have a Bateman walk like he's walking from the bench to the hoop or something like that. Aside from the priority changes, you think 4 is looking incredibly strong? Yeah, true. I don't think the priority changes, to me, the priority changes were like a nothing burger. But it depends on how the people around you tend to play and if you went to events or not, or something like that. My perspective of the priority changes was, what do you do right now? You never take a double, unless it will literally win you the game. Okay. Now that they've changed priority, what do? You still never take a double unless it'll win you the game. Okay. So at the end of the day, it didn't do much. It did reinforced the way that you were already supposed to play. And in a way that casual players that don't like battle tactics, it won't affect them at all, which is weird. Damn, this shit's kind of nice. 4E looking like a game you actually want to play. You hope it lasts past launch, unlike 10E. Yeah, every time a 40k person comes in here, and I don't play 40k, so I don't know. Every time people from 40k come in, they're like, man, AOS, the indexes are going to suck because they sucked in 10th ed 40k. And then the books came out and this thing was nerfed and this thing was better and they did a bad job with this or that. I've only heard kind of horror stories from 10th edition 40k. But what I can say is a different team entirely, of entirely different people, managed by a different person, is on AOS. And so the structure of their systems is similar because it's the same company. But whether or not those systems are implemented well is in the hands of a different team. So there's my absolute hopium, copium, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, thanks for watching, chat. I appreciate it. Huge news day. I didn't even have to do any phony baloney content. We just got to talk about the implications of all this stuff. Thanks for sticking around for it. Do you like this format? Should I read these beforehand and come up with all my opinions and stuff? I don't know if these are like deep enough for that to be necessarily worth it. And plus I like the interactivity of chat being like, keep reading, or there was like 2 or 3 times on the stream somebody did an @HeyWoah and they're like, look at this exact thing, you know, and it was a big deal. So I kind of like that. I'm not just asking this because the one Russian guy was mad. But if you get one mad person who's mad enough to type, what it means is there's probably a representation of some group that's mad, and only one person is mad enough to type, but they represent an amount or whatever. So yeah, I go on tangents and I don't rush and I just talk. And if you like that, you probably like my stuff. And if you don't, you probably don't like my stuff. Maybe that's just kind of how it is. And then in the videos, I can be really concise and snappy, but this is more, we're chilling. Let's learn together, class. Yeah. It's for having on and you're painting and stuff and you got somebody talking about army men. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. I'll see you guys Monday. Thanks for the subs and the bits and the primes. Appreciate. I may or may not raid somebody, so stick around for that if you give a shit. Some of you may not. Hey, alright. Do what you want. Thanks for watching.